What's up, chat? It has been a while. Let me get my monitor on, actually, for my mic so I can hear myself. There we go. Why do I sound like that? You know, I'm going to stop asking why I sound like that. I probably sound fine. So, you know, well. What's up, Symphony? Welcome to the stream. How's everybody doing? Tonight, we'll be responding / reading all of the comments on my Deltarune Theory video. Remember me? Yeah. How would I not? Symphony, how would I not remember you? We've played Lethal Company. Whatever. So yeah, we're gonna be reading the comments. We'll see how that goes. There's quite a few. And I've already, like, responded them in text form. But I wanted to go through, like, in a live stream and just read them. And then kind of give my thoughts off the cuff. We'll see how it goes. But, I mean, I think it'll be fine. But, you know, we'll see. Hopefully it goes well. OMG, you remember? Yippee! Of course I'm not a goldfish. How would I not remember? You're in the Discord. You're, like, active. You're a regular. Is that weird? I don't know. Sup, Jinx. Should we just get started? You know what? Let's just get started. Let's switch over. Hold on, I need some water. Much better. So, here's our theory video. Very lovely. They're empty. I'm trying some A/B testing on some new thumbnails. See if they'll do better. Because I was like, the more I looked at the original thumbnail, the less I was liking it. But anyway, let's just go in here. Maybe I could have picked out comments to read, but you know, this makes it easier. Let's start by we'll go by newest, and then we'll go down the list to like the older comments. You can kind of see which ones I've already responded to with all the hearts and replies. But yeah, non-existence of goldfish. What makes you say that? So as you can see, 497 comments. That's quite a few. It's more than I've ever gotten on a video. 37,000 views from 10 days. I can't even. It feels like it was already a month ago. It's only 10 days ago. I really. Man, that's crazy. 2.3 thousand likes. That's cool. To 86. Wow, that's a ratio. That's great. It seems like people responded positively for the most part to this video. Like there was a few comments where it's just like, oh, you didn't like it. But I think most of the time people were receptive. Although a lot of it was kind of like Deltarune, brain rot, down the rabbit hole type responses. But you said you weren't a goldfish, but saying that you said you weren't a goldfish, but stupid interface on YouTube, on iPads. Hold on. No, you said that you weren't a goldfish, but I'm saying that she is because she says she is. Okay. Gotcha. I used to have a secondary display. I don't now. So I use my iPad to read chat. It's just set up like a foot away from my face. And that stinking heart thing, like, you know, you can like hype a live stream with like in the chat with like the heart thing. It just blocks like the last word of a message. It's so annoying. We need more Lethal Company. I want to play with you again. That would be fun. It just doesn't get views. That's the sad part. But whatever. Anyway, I want to turn down this like BGM a little bit. There we go. A little better. All right. Let's get into reading comments. So, let's see. Lolo TL says, TBH, I think you got me with the fact that he could be wrong. What is he talking about? It's the rabbit kid. Okay, yeah. So the rabbit kid just being wrong. I sold him on it. Or I got him with it. That's good because genuinely, I don't know why this rabbit kid is treated like such a core piece of evidence to the Susie hybrid theory. Like, first up, like just based on the fact that it's a child, like I feel like we should rely less on what they say. Secondly, they say contradictory things, so it's like I don't know why his words treated as gospel, but you know, whatever. This community is so hopeless, we'll literally watch anything to understand more of this quote-unquote game. I mean, that's what people do when they love a piece of media, right? They'll consume content, anything. I mean, just speaking as like an former Undertale brain rot goblin, You know, like I was watching every single video. Like, you know how many times I've seen What the Internet Did to Sans by Super Eye Patch Wolf? I've probably seen that video like 5 times. It's a really good video. But like, that's what you do with properties you love, you know? As for quote-unquote game, I don't know what that means exactly. Maybe this guy has just an overall negative view of Deltarune. I don't know. But, I mean, it is a game for all intents and purposes. So, utterly soulless theory I made after... Dang, we just got a depressed dude. Rest in peace. Maybe get a wife. No, I'm not going to give this guy advice in my chat, my comment section. I will not accept this Toriel slander. What's more likely is that Chris is being a moody teenager and being grumpy about having their mum in their room. Their mum? This guy's British. Chat, we found a British boy. Toriel would most assuredly clean it. Or force Chris to, if she knew. As you can see, I responded to this, but they're talking about... I think it's the portion in the theory when I'm talking about the bloodstain. Like it's continuing on like the Susie hybrid thing, the tangent I had about that. But like so many people turn to this bloodstain as like, oh well the monsters don't know how to clean the blood because monsters don't bleed, only humans bleed, and since Chris is the only human, they don't know how to clean human blood. And so my point that I was making in the video is that there's like a whole bunch of assumptions that just come with that. Like, you're assuming it's Chris's blood, firstly. Like, it's right next to the cage, the bird cage. I don't know why we're assuming this is Chris's blood. Like, why would there be a giant pool of Chris's blood when, like, there's a cage right there? We know, like, this guy is saying, Chris is just a moody teenager. Like, we all know Chris is a weirdo, right? All I'm saying is, I wouldn't be surprised if they did weird things to animals. All I'm saying, okay? But basically, the assumption that this is Chris blood, I don't get it. Why can we assume that? But anyway, so I was giving some like alternative hypotheses as to like why this could be here. And so one of them I listed was like, well, maybe the dreamers just like neglect this side of the room. You know, I mean, like, is there a part without any text, or is this screenshot just like, look at this room. Like, this is something people noticed right away in chapter 1 when we woke up in here. Like, Azrael's side of the room, bam. Like, honor student, you know, like, favorite child looking. And then Chris's side is just, like, so depressing in comparison, you know? Now, can this neglect of Chris's side of the room, like, carry over to also, like, how clean it's kept? I mean, maybe not, but it does give some, like, there's precedent, you know? Like, if people want to say Toriel wouldn't leave this stain sitting around, but she would just leave Azrael's side of the room looking like this and Chris's looking like this. Like, come on. Do you honestly think Toriel wouldn't put something on Chris's side? Like, sure, maybe it's not intentional that Toriel is like neglecting Chris or something, but like Chris could just be intentionally keeping this here. Like, if they intentionally keep their side of the room like this and it's not because of neglect, they could just intentionally also keep this around, you know? Like I pointed out in the video, the only time it gets cleaned up is when Susie comes over and notices, like, what the heck? Why do you have this? We need to get this cleaned up right now, you know? Anyway, so I wasn't trying to say that Toriel is a neglectful parent in this theory. I was offering alternative hypotheses. Like, that's what I respond. Like, I've said this elsewhere, but I'm not trying to make a positive claim here, guys. I'm literally just suggesting plausible alternative explanations that decrease the probability of people's assumptions. My point was that we lack enough information to be sure about what's going on. And he was like, sorry, I was trying to be funny, but I get your point. I just failed to be funny. So, yeah. Chill guy. Cool comment. Let's see. Fort Master. Does bro play Fortnite? I don't know. There are a few things I thought of while watching the video. One, given how it seems humans and monsters live peacefully in Deltarune, unlike in Undertale, maybe not as much research has been done on the nature of souls. Just in general, because unlike in Undertale, the monsters didn't need to escape to anywhere. As such, the dialogue about monster funerals and the soul being put to rest might be in a more metaphorical and religious nature, since they might not now, that monster souls just disintegrate upon death instead of passing on. Okay. 2. Maybe the reason why determination isn't used at any of the save points is because Chris doesn't know about determination. It's connected to connection to saving. There's a lot of evidence that Chris is the source of all the descriptions we get in the game. So if they don't know what determination is, they might just refer to it as a vague power. Okay, 3. As for the kid's question about skeletons, that could literally just be childhood curiosity, whether monsters are biological organisms or made of magic like an Undertale. The idea that there's a type of monster out there that resembles human remains is definitely confusing, and definitely something I'd imagine a little kid would wonder about. Okay, 3rd point, honestly valid. Hello, Nixvale. Nixvale? I think I'm saying that correctly. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so this first point here. So many people responded with basically this, like, oh, well, the reason people don't know about souls in Deltarune is because there wasn't a war, you know? Like, they didn't have, like, the monsters didn't get sealed underground, so they didn't have to learn about souls and stuff, and so, like, there was never a war, so monsters just stayed on the surface, and so Alphys never did research on souls and stuff. And I'm like, brother, my brother in Christ, you're just trying to tell me that in Deltarune, a monster-human war never happened, but the world is the exact same way as it was in Undertale, presumably. What caused the monster-human war in Undertale? It was the fact that friggin' monster souls, can absorb human souls and become uber powerful, like godlike, as they say in Undertale. I'm trying to find a good, like, clip, but I don't know if I should bother. Okay, maybe skip this song. Friggin' Macabre Plaza ear-raping me. Alright. Like, I don't know why so many people don't put it together, but the reason there wasn't a monster-human war in Deltarune is because there were no souls. The whole point of the war in Undertale was to cast monsters away because they had the potential to use their souls to become godlike and destroy humanity. And humans didn't like that, obviously. So they sealed them underground. They had a big fight. But if monsters don't have those souls that could risk the entire world, and there's no human souls to absorb, then such a thing would literally never happen. Hey, Austin Henry, welcome to the chat. So, for this point, like, I don't get why people don't put that piece together. It's like, they just assert that the monster-human war didn't happen in Deltarune, and that's why people don't know about souls. But it's like, if souls existed, there would just be a war, like in Undertale. Like, in what scenario are the worlds of Deltarune and Undertale the exact same? Like, exact same metaphysics, exact same, like, lore with souls? But one just arbitrarily a war doesn't happen, and one arbitrarily a war does happen. Like, anyway, I'm probably gonna have a tangent about that more later on. Anyway, so yeah. As for the dialogue about the monster funerals and the soul being put to rest, it might be in a more metaphysical and religious nature, since they might not know that monster souls just disintegrate upon death upon passing on. But this is a very physical process. I mean, we only see this with, like, boss monsters in Undertale, to be fair. Like, we don't see any regular monster souls. And I think my assumption is just, like, because their determination levels are so low that they kind of, like, instantly disintegrate upon dying. And boss monsters can hold on for, like, just a little longer. But, like, I think that's the clear implication that Undertale makes. But, like, this is a very... Boss monsters are everywhere. Like, in Undertale... What we have Asgore, we have Toriel, we have, I guess, Undyne too, technically. Like, who else? I don't know. That's already 3 in, like, a main cast that's pretty expansive. So, can you guys hear me? Oh! Wait, no. You guys hear me? What? Hello? Hi, Symphony. Can y'all hear me? Hold up. Just making sure. Now I'm scared. Okay, I'm hoping I haven't been inaudible this whole time or something. Yeah, okay. Good. Y'all scared me for a second. Okay. Anyway, so that's all I'm going to say about that one. But yeah, the point I was making is that, like, in Undertale, there's no distinction between like metaphorical / religious soul, like an understanding of soul that we have in the real world. There's no differentiating between that and like the literal heart-shaped objects that monsters and humans have in Undertale. Like, there's never a point where someone's like, oh, I hope their soul went off to monster heaven or something like that, you know? Like, it's just like, whenever someone talks about souls in Undertale, they mean the literal heart-shaped objects, right? I keep saying stuff, but it's not showing up. Oh, and I've just been looking at a screen. I'm sorry. Listen, this is just what reading chat looks like, all right? Where was I? Anyway, so the point I was trying to make is that, like, it's weird that Deltarune is now making that distinction. Or at least being more, like, flippant with the usage of, like, a more metaphorical sounding soul and an actual literal soul. So that was my point there. Maybe the reason why the determination isn't used in any of the save points because Chris doesn't know about determination. I mean, this is like assuming Chris is the narrator, and I don't think we have good reason to believe Chris is the narrator because there's a lot of things that narrator says that Chris just wouldn't know about. Like, I can't think of any examples off my head, but I feel like it's kind of obvious. Just like I'm thinking through the game, and I can't think of any point where it's like, yeah, this is clearly Chris narrating. Like, I think sometimes it could be, but I think it's kind of like a similar situation like Undertale, where it's like everyone like Fan and Narrakara being canon, and I think Andrew Cunningham sets a really good, I don't know, precedent, or he like makes a really good point that it's probably just Toby narrating. And maybe it's not Toby narrating in Deltarune, but I feel like very strongly like it could just be Toby narrating. So anyway, I guess there are times where it would make sense for Chris being the narrator, like for instance chapter 2. If we try to go like to the bathroom earlier, it's like it's not time to wash hands yet. But I guess that's assuming Chris had the plan to open the fountain from like before this, like season chapter 2, season 2, Deltarune Fortnite. I don't know. I guess I'd have to think about that more. But I think there's a lot of assumptions that are made that I'll probably disagree with. As for the kid's question about skeletons, could just be childhood curiosity. Yeah, and that's my point, right? Like, what I'm saying is that so many people have been using like the little rabbit kid. Where is he? Shucks. Here he is. As soon as I should mute this so it doesn't overlap with the background music. Okay, now this is just isn't loading. That's cool. Yeah, little rabbit kid. Like, my point exactly is that people keep using this one dialogue piece about does it hurt to be made of blood as evidence that like Chris is the only one made of blood. Yet then they ask the next chapter, where do skeletons come from? You know? And so I'm like, so if people are going to say this is proof, this doesn't mean anything, that's a double standard, right? Play Bad Time Simulator. Like, saying that this is valid proof and then this is just like an outlier, this is just him being a kid, like that's obviously just a double standard, right? And I think a lot of people who use this as proof just overlook this or don't know about this. So my point in like bringing this up is like, if you want to use this as proof, you need to be consistent and then apply it to this, right? If this is part of your evidence, you also have to take this into your evidence, because apparently whatever this kid says is true, right? Does it hurt to be made of blood? Okay, therefore Chris is the only one who's made of blood. Where do skeletons come from? Okay, now you have to explain where skeletons come from, right? If your whole explanation behind Deltarune is that Chris is biological, made of blood, you know, monsters are magical, then all of a sudden you have to be explaining, okay, well, skeletons are just magical, so why is this kid asking about that? You know, like obviously skeletons are just made of magic. And this is the little thorn in their side. Because it's like, if monsters are just magic, why does this kid even bother asking? You know? And they're like, oh, well, it's just like, he's just a kid, you know? He doesn't know things about the world yet. So it's like, oh, wait. So for this one, he doesn't know about the world yet, and he's just asking questions. But this one's actually just a true statement. You see what I mean? It's just the double standard people make. So what I was trying to point out here is that, like, I don't think this kid is a reliable narrator. Or a reliable source of information. That was literally my whole point with that. Anyway, okay. Yeah, enough of that. Mama Max intro. Is it though? I mean, I guess I'm trying to think about it. I guess it kind of is. I'm kind of mad about it. Bro, no. Okay. Interesting video. However, you are quite literally eating your microphone. This probably would upset Mike. Yeah, I think I boosted the levels for the video a little too much, which is regrettable. But I was editing on like 3 different audio devices, and I think every time it changed how the video sounded, so I was kind of just like, turn the volume up! So, yeah, anyway. Absolute uncinema. Respectfully, of course. Love the effort you put into this, but this is disproven just from Susie's line. Is that your cutoff? Likely ending with soul/soul, and the flavor text of heart pillows also being referred to as human soul pillows too. Like, why would the narrator clarify it's a human soul if souls don't flippin' exist at all and we're the only one? Would also like to point out that Spampton says you have a heart-shaped object based on the fact that Chris is a lightner, implying that lightners do indeed have souls. And that the caller, who is most likely Carol, says without soul on the call, in lowercase, mind you, so by your own logic, souls exist in Deltarune based on the fact that Carol refers to the soul in the normal lowercase version of soul. And to disprove that soul logic, capsule little soul logic, Undertale Athletes refers to the human souls in the uppercase version, souls multiple times. You said soul is the only one in uppercase, but apparently not applies to every human. Again, I love how much deep diving you did for this, so don't take my criticism personally, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I had a response to this. I don't remember how long it was. Yeah, so no, my point is not that soul, like capsule, refers specifically to our player's soul, but that soul refers specifically to the literal heart-shaped objects present in Undertale and present in Deltarune as our physical manifestation. So, what I'm saying there, in Undertale, all those heart-shaped objects, like the human souls, the flipped monster souls, the white monochrome ones that we see in the True Pacifist run, all those are capital souls, S-O-U-L in capitals, soul, capital soul. They're capsules. That's all the point I was making. Not that like our heart in Deltarune is what the only thing that referred to is as soul, right? That wasn't what my point was. Also, they mentioned like the Susie thing. Like, is that your? I talked about this in the video. I addressed the Susie point in the video. There are lots of reasons she could have been asking. She could have been even about to ask another question entirely. We can only make educated guesses. Yeah, like my whole point was that like it sure sounds like she's about to ask if it was our soul, but to be fair, she never actually does ask the question. And it's like, if this wasn't important, why would Toby intentionally cut that off? Right? Like, if souls just exist in Deltarune and that's like not supposed to be a weird thing at all, like here we have like Susie, hey Chris, what's the deal with that red heart thing? You know, is that your? And then it like Susie never finishes because Rousey comes in and interrupts, right? Like, the point I was trying to make is that this game is being coy with anything about souls, right? Toby won't just come out and say it. Play Bad Times Together. No more Pennsylvania. What's Pennsylvania? Answer me. I don't know, bro. What's that mean? So yeah, like if if souls were supposed to be like a normal part of this, why couldn't Susie have just actually finished her question? You know, like if it's not supposed to be anything weird, if it's supposed to be pretty cut and dry, like there's no reason to do this. I'm saying it's weird that that this happens, you know? Like, we're only assuming that she was about to ask if it was our soul. She could be about to ask something totally different. We just don't know that, you know? And could it maybe be that Susie was about to ask if it was a soul, but Toby doesn't want Susie to get to that point yet? Because Toby doesn't want to involve, like, or Toby doesn't want to, like, fully reveal to the, like, I made this point in the video. Like, it could be that Toby wants to hide us, the player, from the in-game characters for as long as possible. Maybe that's it. All right. But it is still a fact that he's being coy with this. And that was kind of the point I was trying to make. Would also like to point out that Spampton says you have a heart-shaped object based on the fact that Chris is a lightner, implying that lightners do indeed have souls. This I just think is wrong. It's a browser game. I know what Bad Time Simulator is. I'm not playing it. I'm reading comments. This is the point of the stream is to respond to comments. I'm not playing Bad Time Simulator, chat. I think this is just wrong. Because, like, if it's just based on if you're a lightner or not, like, Spampton could have easily tried to go for Susie's, like, if all Lighteners have a soul, Susie would also have a soul. Spamton, if Spamton just needed a soul, Spamton could have gone for Susie's soul and not Chris's. But every single time, Spamton goes for Chris's soul. Right? Quote unquote Chris's soul. Actually us. But, like, I just don't get where they're getting this from. Like heart-shaped object is based on Chris being a Lightener. Like, I don't see that anywhere in Chapter 2's dialogue. And that the caller, who's most likely Carol, says, without soul in the call, in lowercase, mind you, so by your own logic, souls exist in Deltarune. This, I don't know, maybe I'm just not understanding this, but I have no idea what this is trying to say. It says, without soul on the call in lowercase, mind you, so by your own logic, souls exist in Deltarune based on the fact that Carol refers to the soul in the normal lowercase version of soul. So I think if I'm understanding correctly, they're saying that souls exist in Deltarune because Carol refers to the soul in lowercase. I'm not following the logic here, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to respond to that because I don't really get the point they're trying to make. And to disprove that cap soul versus little soul logic, Undertale Alphys refers to I addressed this first. All right, thanks for the comment. Biggest issue with the video takes over 4 minutes to get started with a bunch of loud fluff before. No offense, but it's just hurting retention. I respond to this. This is just not true. Retention on this video has been... I can show the stats, actually. Let's see. Retention has been, like, crazy good on this video. Close that. Let's see. Let's take a look at it. Here it is. Now if we go to... oh, wait. We have to go to analytics. Where is it? Here we go. So it's 38,000 views, 7.7 thousand. Like, and the views kind of just have like a steady growth, which is really cool. It was really exploding around like the beginning, and now it's kind of just reached a nice, like, not a crazy growth line, but like that's pretty stable. You know, that's pretty cool. Retention. Average view duration was 12 minutes. That's like a third of the video. That's pretty good. And the average percent that watched the whole thing was 32%. That's still pretty high. And 73% of viewers were still watching at the 30-second mark. If it felt like I was wasting their time 30 seconds into the video, like, this would not be this high, you know? Like, look how high it is. Let's see, where's the 4-minute mark? 4-minute mark. 40, like, half of people are still watching. That's pretty good. And it maintains that. Could it be better? Sure. But I think, like, for at least on my channel, this is incredibly good. And like with these numbers, that's pretty good. So I'm happy with it. Like, maybe I could improve it, but you can suggest stream ideas in the Discord. Yes, thank you. Desk groomed Chris. Oh no, not that theory. Where was I? So yeah. Obviously, I'm still learning to make videos. And I'm not saying this is the perfect video ever, man. You can't criticize it. Like, I get it, and I appreciate this feedback. And I'll keep trying to refine my craft, obviously. But yeah, I think this did pretty well, and I'm happy with how it turned out. And I think I presented the information I wanted to competently, so I'm happy with it. But thank you for the engagement. This whole scene's incredible voice acting. You can hear the sadness in his voice. Sadness in his voice. I think this is the Asriel portion. Yeah. There was also a lot of people in the comments complaining about this whole bit because it was, I don't know how long this segment is, but it's just like the whole Asriel fight. There's some people complaining about how long this was, and I'm just like, I get it, it's long, but it's really important to the thematic part of this whole thing, you know? Like, I want you to feel those emotions you felt and understand, like, what I'm trying to get at. Anyway. And you did say in the beginning of the video, this is your first theory video. Yeah, that too. So I think for a first ever theory video, this did pretty friggin' good. I should stop scrolling up to the video. I'm gonna lose my comments every time. Let's see. Also, thank you. I guess I wasn't really voice acting for that one. I was kind of actually just like crying while reading through the battle, but I guess I was putting on a little bit of voice acting for it. Also, there was a lot of comments. That was just people like glazing my voice. You have a very nice voice. Thank you, Eva Theoni 1014. Also, thank you for the comment, Dragon Master 17. Yeah. A bunch of people were just commenting about how nice my voice is. Like, I don't get it, but you know, fair enough, I guess. Then you just stop co-playing. You're fixing complaining. You're fixing Gen Z's attention span. True. Personally, like, and I mean, with this video, right? I'm like trying to cater to that person who's like me, who enjoys watching like somewhat pretentious-ish video essays that are like, that aren't just like giving you an info dump, but are trying to like present things in a somewhat cinematic manner. So that was kind of the point of this, and I think I succeeded. Personally, I do believe Susie an outlier compared to most monsters, but I don't believe in Susie's monster-human hybrid theory, so I'm not sure how I can explain it yet, but I'm confident, probably too much, that Susie is an outlier in Sans too, and maybe Sans' his brother, whether it's Papyrus or not. My response to this was just, I think Occam's raise your friend. A complicated hypothesis is less likely to be true than a simpler one. By that logic, one could assume that magic does exist, but it has a different place in society in Deltarune. Sibbles has a good video on this. That's not a simpler explanation, though. Like, this hypothesis is saying magic does exist, but we're never shown that. Like, text in the light world is specifically avoiding any discussion of magic, and nobody talks about magic. And it's not talked about anywhere, but it just has a different place in society. Like, you think that would be at the church. They never mention magic in church. Like, there's so many steps to this hypothesis. This is not a simpler one. This is not going by Occam's razor. And neither is this original comment, you know? It's like monsters are all, I don't know, whatever this person believes, right? But Susie is special, and Sans is special, and maybe Sans' brother is also special. And it's like, this doesn't explain things simply, right? Like, first off, I don't know what they believe about monsters exactly, but my whole hypothesis, right, is a really simple blanket idea. It basically comes down to just believing that the world in Deltarune is materialistic, right? Like, there's no magic. I mean, I guess to some degree there's like, it's not completely materialistic because there's like a higher level of reality. I don't know if we'd want to call that metaphysical, but yeah, I guess there is a whole metaphysical reality. So it's not that it's materialistic, but that like materialism is true, but it's the light world is at least a material world, right? So the reason monsters bleed, the reason magic isn't talked about, like all these things, simple explanation, because it's material, right? Like, monsters are biological. Magic just doesn't exist because the world operates on physical laws. You know, that's a much simpler explanation. You have a nice voice, but EJ is better. True. Anyway, so I feel like there's a lot of people who just don't understand why so many of their theories are so hard to listen to, because they'll be like, well, something's like this because of A, and then that's because of B and C and D, right? And it's like they have one piece of evidence to back up the point A that they're trying to defend, but then they're just making assumptions to get to B, C, D, and whatever else, you know? And it's just getting really complicated, and it stops having any explanatory power. Anyway, spontaneous whimsy can thrive in chaos, but too much order is a determinism itself, oppressive hierarchy, for instance, so basically it requires a balance for free will. Where are they talking about here? Let's see. Yeah, this is the part where I'm talking about determinism. So my point with this is like in a deterministic, like assuming determinism, right? Like a large system. A system is just what would you call it? How do you define a system? A closed environment in which things happen is a system, right? A closed system. No. So like, as an analogy, imagine a soda can, right? Like if your soda can is closed, it's a closed system, right? And there's things going on inside your soda can. It's carbonated, there's sugar in there, there's other compounds. There's no outside energies coming in. I mean, besides some like radiation or something that can get through the metal, right? But like if we broadly think about it physically, there isn't. It's like a closed system, right? You don't have water suddenly coming into it. You don't have energy, a substantial amount of energy coming in, right? But you have CO2 like bumping around. You have water molecules maybe sloshing around, like currents. I guess if it's still, but you can have your CO2 like bouncing around, right? Or like gas. Let's say gas inside of a canister, right? Your gas is like bumping into each other and floating around. That's a closed system. And so chaos in that system, like to us, it can look random, like how those individual atoms and stuff are moving. Like it looks chaotic, right? But let's say if you had the capacity to like calculate all of it, you could predict like where certain atoms would go in the future, like where all the atoms could go in the future, right? So like everything is determined by like its cause and effect, right? So my point was that like if you are small enough within a closed system, something that is chaotic, something that looks chaotic to you, is in effect not really, like it is determined. And so ergo, like a chaotic world is ultimately a determined one, or it is a yeah, that's the point I was trying to make. Where am I? I lost the comments. Dang it, I need to stop scrolling. So that was the point I was trying to make. Order is a determinism in itself, oppressive hierarchy, for instance. I mean, yeah, I guess that's true. So basically it requires a balance for free will. Yeah, I don't know. I would have light and dark, you could say. Maybe, I think, I don't know. I don't know how I would respond to this. I'm not even sure it's entirely relevant to the discussion here, so sounds cap. Unintentionally mysterious. Capsule. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they thought of the theory by the end, but yeah. I actually really like this theory. I didn't notice the difference between capsule and soul in dialogue, so with how specific dialogue matters in these games, I assume you're right about this for sure. Interested to see how this theory develops in future chapters, especially if the weird route ends like early, like people have theorized. Weird route ending early. Man, I need to watch more recent theory videos. You don't see someone talking about Delta and Undertale and Lord of the Rings in the same video often. Loved it. Thanks, Golden Tiara. This aged like milk after the lore bomb that Gerson dropped in the anniversary. So this is the part where I'm bashing Susie hybrid theory. Yeah. So they're saying me thinking that the Susie hybrid theory is really bad, aged like milk. And I scrolled up to the video again. Why do I do this to myself? Here it is. For those of you that didn't watch the anniversary stream, basically Gerson drops some dialogue boxes that basically talk about how before the monster human war there were monster human couples, and basically my response to that's just like, because we definitely got confirmation that those couples could produce offspring. I mean, guys, please, in real life, if a human tries to have sex with an animal, they're not going to make an animal human hybrid. That's not how reproduction works, right? Like, I don't know why these people who do the Susie monster, like human monster hybrid theory for Susie, like just grant that humans and monsters are genetically compatible enough to produce offspring. Like, we just have no evidence for that. I don't. And Gerson notably doesn't have any kids, right? Like in Undertale, monsters age if they have kids, right? Like that's why Toriel and Asgore lived for so long, because all their children died. And Gerson, old as he is, has not died of old age. He's older than Asgore and Toriel, right? He's probably one of the oldest monsters in the underground. Yeah, but Deltarune isn't real life. Yes, but okay, I'm not even gonna. Gerson doesn't age, right? And like maybe you want to say, oh well, he actually had kids, but they're all dead now. They died in the war or something. I don't. You're just making that up, man. I'm sorry, we don't have evidence for that. All we have evidence for is that there were human monster couples, not that they had children, right? And Gerson says that because of the war, some of those couples had to split up, but not that there were any families split up, just that couples split up, right? Like, I think it'd be a pretty big deal if there was a monster human couple who had children, and like the monster dad had to like abandon his family and his wife and kids because of the monster human war. You know, like I feel like Gerson would mention that, but that's not mentioned at all. Anyway. Social account 0000. Interesting. I doubt it, but also has enough to where it's not impossible. It's like, yeah, that's kind of what I want the general response from someone to be, pretty much. Also in the anniversary, they said about monsters human relationships, because save points of Deltarune is on function gave by Gaster device maybe. I mean, maybe. I just don't think we have like supporting evidence from Deltarune to try and establish that to be the case. So we already talked about the whole monster human relationship things. Bro thinks he's the Joker. I actually have not seen this. Big pen stroker. Okay. I don't know if he's referring to my edgy intro or something, but this is about to be the best or worst theory yet. Mind blown. Hope it wasn't too bad. You cooked. So I converted this guy. Let's go. I think I remember this translation book where Toby explained that while true that determination is what defines who has save load capacities in the underground, is Mount Ebot in the last instance the place where this capacity seems to exist. So maybe the whole determination doesn't allow you to save load in Deltarune in the same manner. Can be explained by just being that we're not under Mount Ebot. I don't remember the page of the book though. If someone else remembers, please point out if what I said is true. Okay. I'm just going to disregard this then, because I feel like Toby Fox is hesitant to say that anything outside the games is canon. Like, anything on Fangamer, he says is not, like, I think he says is, like, quasi-canon or something, or, like, not canon, or not entirely canon. So anything outside the games, I'm going to trust a little bit less, like, just as a starting point. And then this person doesn't know where they're getting that from, so, you know, whatever. We're going to skip. Sorry. There's 500 comments. You want him to look through all that just to find your comment? Literally. I think the skeleton question is not how do skeletons exist. It reads more like a gag that insinuates monsters don't have skeletons. How? Did bro read any of the context? In my opinion, it's less that can't be biologically possible and more what's a biology. And like, if it's that second one, like, sure. I can agree with that. But then that also applies to the whole, like, does it hurt to be made of blood thing? So therefore, stop using it as evidence. Well, yeah, I'm more saying that to me, both lines read like they're coming, yeah. So basically, a reasonable opinion. Could just be a Napstablook type monster. Also, I completely forgot about Napstablook. Totally forgot Napstablook existed somehow. It's for like the biological monster thing. Could Napstablook be but just biological? Sure. Like, to be fair, now I can't remember. I don't think we ever see Napstablook phase through things in Deltarune. Like in Undertale, he would just constantly kind of like phase through stuff. Like he like fades out of existence in the ruins and like kind of teleports around his home area. But I don't think we see that in Deltarune. So, plausible. This comment. There's no way Toby would have the balls to touch determinism. Yes, he might touch fatalism. He might touch stoicism. Fatalism, for you that don't know, is like believing that the world falls in line with like fate, like the world is fated. He might touch stoicism, but there's no way he would touch determinism. Determinism is more or less a fact in philosophy. So, when I was first reading this comment, I was trying to read this word, and I'm like, what are they saying? I'm like, are they trying to say philosophy? Because that's not how you spell philosophy. Like, maybe it's an older way. Philosophy. Yeah, no, it's philosophy. I'm being yapped to by someone who spells philosophy with a Y. Okay. more or less, determinism is more or less a fact in philosophy. Even people from quite a long time ago who are known for being associated with freedom, like Kant or Nietzsche, both don't believe in libertarian free will. I feel like I'm just getting major philosophy midwit vibes. I don't know. Could this guy know more about philosophy than me? Maybe. I don't know. But this comment is just giving major actually energy. I'm not gonna lie. The donkey between two haystacks metaphor is something you learn in philosophy class. Day 1. Libertarian free will is not just debunked, it is actively made fun of by everybody within the philosophy community. Yes, in physics you can talk about quantum probabilities. I'm not getting into quantum randomness, dude. I'm not. And honestly, in this video, I'm not even trying to argue that, like, I'm not even really trying to argue for libertarian free will. Is the funny part. Like, I don't think I ever said free will once in this video. At all. And my point wasn't that I think that Toby Fox is trying to say no free will bad, free will good. Like, that was not the point I was really trying to make. Except everything being either random or determined or still leaves no room for free will. See, the thing is, I was saying these two things go hand in hand. Like, random. Like, because I'm not certain randomness actually exists in the physical world, and I think the science is kind of, at the moment, out on that. Yeah, is determinism very popular philosophically? Yes. Do I think there are very good arguments? No, not really. Do I believe in libertarian free will? I would like to think it's true. I think it makes more sense to my daily experience. But I think probably some form of compatibilism is probably correct. It does maybe kind of explains why you could have been mistaken. I don't know what he thinks I'm mistaken about, though. Like, I'm not sure what he's trying to say I'm wrong about. But within philosophy, most modern-day thinkers are compatibilists. Yeah, that's true. Most philosophers are compatibilists in the modern world. And compatibilist is still against libertarian free will and for determinism. I want to say that's not completely true, but to be fair, I'm an armchair philosopher, so I have not read much of I gotta read my Blackwell Companion to Philosophy that I have a giant physical copy of. That'd probably be good. But yeah, it's not. I wasn't really trying to argue for libertarian free will in this video, and I think that's what bro's kind of like hung up on for this. It's just kind of a reband of free will to mean agency that is correlated with one's own wants and preference. Yeah, and I think that's fine. Maybe that kind of explanation is ridiculed by a considerable amount of people. You mean like the 20% of philosophers who are hard... Bro means like friggin... What's his name? Shoot, what's it? Robert Spolotsky. That's who he means. Guys who are not like... I don't think Robert Spolotsky's even... Is he a doctor? I can't even remember. Bro just writes books about determinism and how about God doesn't exist and stuff, and he's so edgy. It's like, free will doesn't exist. Deal with it. Anyway, just kind of a compatibilists are quite numerous and rising. Yeah, that's fine. It's complete nonsense trying to talk about determinism when you're clearly not educated in the topic. Dualism or God still doesn't justify libertarian free will. I never argued for that. So I really don't know who bro is shooting, but it's not me. There's still something that causes you to be you. There always is. Yeah, that's true. I'm in fact contingent. Even when you act in accordance with your own agency, you can always track it to external sources to justify why you even have such wants. Okay. Like, I feel like I'm just being philosophy broed right now. Yeah, so... Anyway. And no, this isn't something to scoff about either. If you've been r/OCD or even interacted with people who have OCD. I don't know why this all of a sudden turns to OCD. Okay. You'll find out must common of an info hazard determinism is. Maybe English isn't this person's first language. You will find out most common of an info hazard determinism is. I feel like I'm listening to Yoda. You will find out most common of an info hazard determinism is. In fact, it is literally kind of censored in philosophy circles. One of the reasons why compatibilism is still more numerous is because there are undeniable psychological studies that prove that taking seriously has negative effects on people's psyche. It's an actual IRL cognito hazard. It is both right and dangerous. There's no way in hell Toby Fox would ever try to touch that subject. I mean, I don't presume to speak for Toby Fox, so I'm just analyzing what I see. And I think determinism is a fairly prevalent theme in Deltarune and to some degree in Undertale. I think one comment, we're gonna read a comment later, but I think they put it really well. It's Undertale is about deciding your fate, and Deltarune is about subverting fate. I think that's a really good way to put it. And maybe that's more fatalism than determinism. But I think there's also a lot of deterministic outlook within Undertale and Deltarune. The whole thing with Flowey, his whole thing is that he's nihilistic because he knows that there's nothing truly unique in the world. He's done everything you possibly can in Undertale, and he knows how it all goes, right? He's seen what the chains of cause and effect within Undertale are. He's seen all of them, right? He's living in a deterministic world. And so we, the player, come break him out of that cycle, right? So that's the point I was trying to make, right? Not that, Flowey then learned that there's actually free will, not that there isn't free will or something. That's not what I'm trying to say. But it's this he brings up these psychological studies about determinism, right? And there are actually some interesting ones. So for instance, I know about this one study where there was research done where they made people take tests, right? And so there was a control group and there was some test groups. But one test group, they told them, it was a bunch of people who believe in determinism, right? So they don't believe in free will. They don't believe you can make choices. They believe that you are determined to always do something a certain way, you know? You are just a result of you are just a result of cause and effect, is what I'm trying to say. And then a group of people who believe that they have free will. And what's interesting is that the group who is told that there is no who believe that there is no free will, actually resort to cheating on that test more often than the people who believe in free will, right? So that's kind of a micro example of what he's talking about that has negative effects on people's psyche, right? Those people who don't believe in free will, they believe, well, I was meant to cheat anyway, you know, it was just gonna happen that I cheat, so I'm just gonna cheat, you know, or I don't know exactly how you would analyze that or what's going on in their head, right? But I find it interesting, and I don't know if you can use that study as a knock against or for free will. To me, it feels really weird that telling someone that there is no free will causes them to do more bad things. That's very interesting. It certainly isn't better for a society, I would say. Does that make it false? Not necessarily, no. But I find that good things tend to be true. Anyway. Yeah, so this is kind of just a big... I don't want to say it's a nothing burger of a comment, but it's I feel like he was kind of missing the point I was trying to make. And I just don't agree with this last line here, and I don't speak for Toby on this, so... Oh gosh, we have another simp for my voice. This is the most attractive voice I've ever heard. Crying emoji. Really crying emoji. Say snaz backwards. Sans. If your comment is about anything not in the video, let it be, man. If it is, then wait your turn. I guess I can heart that. Apparently there's a subset of people in the world that just really think my voice is the bee's knees. Personally, I do understand. But, you know, to each their own. So, I actually had a theory at some point where I theorized that a shard of Gaster's body from the Undertale timeline was sent to the Deltarune timeline and created the prophecy to send him back. if it's a character from the Undertale timeline running the prophecy, that'll explain the wording. Okay. What wording? I don't want to like click up to the video. Can I open this in a new tab? I can. Okay, what are they talking about? What portion of the video? If this thing would load. Okay, they're talking about the part of the prophecy that talks about Chris being a human soul, cage with human soul and parts. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what the point they're trying to make is. I don't know. I don't know how to respond to something like this, because this is just like the Deltarune theory brain rot, right? Like, this is the brain rot, you know? Like, guys, listen, there was a shard of Gaster's body that it came from Undertale to Deltarune, it made the... Like, you know, like, this is the tinfoil hat level conspiracy. So, I just can't... I can't even respond to someone like that, because they're just too far gone, you know? Since you hate it, Susie is half human. I just think it's really dumb. I mean, you can believe it if you want to. I just think you're wrong. And, guys, look at this. So cool. My first Japanese comment. 無理だ。考えれば考えるほどわからなくなる。Part 2を待っています。They're like, I can't. No matter how much I think, the less I understand. I am waiting for part 2. Polite bow. So I responded. ごめんね、YouTube の翻訳は多分頼りになってないよね。この動画を見てくれてありがとう。So, sorry about that. YouTube's auto-translate probably isn't very reliable. Thanks for watching this video. Yeah, so. It was Ketchup, actually. He's a skeleton. In any logical sense, he can't bleed beyond a small amount of marrow blood. Okay, so... I'm really confused about this one. Well, they're trying to make the point that Sans bleeding is not because he's biological, because it's Ketchup, right? And that's what a lot of people believed before Deltarune came out. Or before, like, we started thinking he actually was from Deltarune, right? That it was just Ketchup. That's how we explained away... Like, because no monsters bleed in Undertale. So we were like, it can't be blood then. It has to be, like, Ketchup, because that's something Sans would do. Sans would do. Want to see a photo of my cat? No. Oh, dude, if you do the true crime vids, you get a lot more comments about your voice. Oh, yikes. I think Dragon Blazers underground level is the whole game of Undertale, since it has an evil route. I think it's... I think there's a few comments similar to that on the video. And I wanted to say that I think that... Oh, no, wait, that was about Dark Worlds and stuff. No one really talked about Chapter 3's hidden game. I think... I don't know what to think about it. I kind of... It's kind of a big mystery box for me at the minute, but yeah. So yeah. If he's a skeleton in any logical sense, he can't bleed beyond a small amount of marrow. Like, if monsters in Deltarune are biological, that doesn't mean that Sans is literally just a skeleton ripped out of a human, right? Like, a skeleton, a cadaver cannot walk around, speak, and run a shop, you know? So my point isn't that Sans or any other monster is literally just like what they look like is what they are, you know? Like, I don't know what the mechanics are. Like, we can call it magic for how unrealistic it is, right? But Sans is biological. Like, that doesn't mean he's literally, like, calcium and blood marrow and sponge tissue, you know? Like, however he works biologically, my point is that he simply is not made of magic, you know? Along with every other monster. And if he has blood, he has blood. That's just how he works. I don't know. But he just has blood. Because... he needs it to live, you know? That's my only point. I think, Soyboy Thoughts in chat, I think you are probably right about, the hidden board being Dragon Blazers. That's probably correct. Or at least, it's like some Dark World reinterpretation of Dragon Blazers. Let's see, I don't know if this has been mentioned Isuru FO. But I think it's interesting it mentioned Sans being from Deltarune as evidence that monsters are biological, because that would kind of sort of confirm that Papyrus is not from Deltarune. There's no evidence that says that is not true, especially since Papyrus has never seen the sun, but the way Sans and Papyrus just showed up one day in Snowdin, Papyrus said that the grass is green shows hints that he might still be from Deltarune, as well as he dusts when he dies, but who knows, basically it could honestly be anything. Cool video, just want to point that out. I think this person raises a good point. I think my response was something more about Papyrus. If my comment loads. I don't know why my internet's so bad. Hold on a minute. To be fair, I am playing back my stream to read the chat at 720p. Hold on. Guys, my Wi-Fi's trash. Leave me alone. 144p. There we go. That'll fix it. Yeah, here we go. To be fair, I'm not entirely convinced that we're going to see Papyrus and Deltarune or ever confirm his existence there. Judging by interactions with the front door of Sans and Pappy's house, I'm almost willing to bet Sans is alone. But also in the note about the sun, I can't remember what newsletter it was, but at some point we had a Q&A where Papyrus said that before Snowdin he remembered a place with lots of green grass, and before Sans cuts him off. So yeah, not sure. Which actually they mentioned that, but maybe I didn't see that originally. I don't know. But I think it's plausible that Papyrus isn't actually from Deltarune, only Sans is. Like Papyrus knowing about there being lots of grass is interesting, but also Papyrus never having seen the sun. But to be fair, if Papyrus is in Deltarune, we've never seen Papyrus outside of his house once. So maybe Papyrus was just a shut-in. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, or I don't know. It's Baby Bones. Baby Bones is in Deltarune, not Papyrus. Some guy. I think my main issue with this theory is that we have pretty solid confirmation that Chris was still caging their soul prior to our possession of them. Chances are humans 100% have souls and Chris hates theirs. I don't know, this is just weird. My response to my crack theory is that when Chris summoned a demon with Caddy, it was a similar situation that occurred. That's why they're so acquainted with possession, how to override us, and how to manipulate our choices. So, yeah, that's my crack theory. Chris summoned a demon, and it was actually, like, a soul. I don't know whose soul or what it was, but, like, they're a little too familiar with possession and how to override us and all the things I just said here. My main issue with this is that we have solid confidence that Chris was still caging their soul. I guess if we want to assume the bird cage was used to cage souls prior, I don't know why we would assume that it's Chris's when we know about the whole Chris summoning a demon thing. Right? Like, I don't... Chances are humans are... Like, I don't know. I feel like that's just making a lot of assumptions. Why would Chris hate their own soul? Right? Like, if we assume the rules are the same as an Undertale, your soul is the embodiment of your beings. I mean, maybe that could just be like a self-loathing thing, you know? You have to hate their own soul. Like, to hate the culmination of your being. Dang, that's kind of dark. I guess that kind of fits Chris, but I don't know. I just don't think we have good evidence for that, and I think the evidence we have better explains other hypotheses. So, yeah. A weird route, you say? Say that again? That's the part where I was like, I think it'd be a pretty weird route for Toby to go to. Yeah. In case y'all didn't notice, I had a lot of different, like, puns in this video. And people only really noticed the weird route one. So, not really pun, but, like, wordplay. I don't know. I think we need to find out why Chris is the only human character when other humans are canon. Why did they dump Chris there? Flowey made Papyrus who he was. Without Flowey, would not be so heroic in Undertale. Papyrus and Sans just showed up someday, so maybe they just showed up in Deltarune in the same way. I mean, Sans literally just did show up. Sans just moved into town. Could Sans not be from Deltarune either? Sans is actually from... Guys, Sans is Ness. Sans is from Earthbound. Who knows? I think, to be honest, I don't think we're gonna get answers about Sans and Deltarune. I think Toby's gonna keep Sans' origins a mystery, to be honest. I don't think we're gonna get that moment where Sans, like, we go into the bunker and Sans is there sitting on Uncle Gaster's lap, you know. I'm not sure we're gonna get that, but anyway. I have a dumb idea. This is only due to a slight memory of an old JRPG that I can't figure out the name of have an explanation for skeletal monsters. Semi-invisible connections between bones or cartilage, depending on species. But in whatever that game was, in a bestiary section, it showed the inner workings of skeletal monsters. They worked like how insects and such into the exoskeleton. Blah, blah. Basically, Delicious in Dungeon, like the armor bugs, you know, or like the armor shellfish. They like possessed suits, like decrepit suits of armor, and then moved them around. It looked like there was like skeleton monster, not skeleton, like armor monsters. Like, I wish I had a clip to show, but basically what they're trying to say here, like maybe skeletons are made of like little bugs or something, or like they are bugs that just have exoskeletons or something. And I was like, oh, interesting thought on how a biological skeleton could work. Like, I don't really care about how like skeletons actually physically work if they are biological, you know. I don't think that really matters. I think the point is simply like putting aside how they actually like physically work. Like, it's just the fact that they are biological. Like, they do work on biological principles. Sans is shellfish confirmed. The kid asked where skeletons come from. Maybe they mean literally where did Sans and Pyres come from. Like, the thing is, if you read the context, I can't scroll up. I'm not gonna scroll up. Like, if you just read the context, like, it's clearly not what the kid's trying to say. You know? They're talking about, like, the biological origin. Not but, like, the literal physical origins of skeletons. Not, where did my new neighbors come from, you know? Anyway. Ghosts, like Napstablook. This is the person talking about how, like, there's no, magical-looking monsters. And then I cut to, like, the fire girl in the diner. And when I first saw this comment, I was like, Napstablook! I forgot about Napstablook! So, fair point. But, like I talked about the fire girl, she does order food, you know? I can't think of a time in Undertale where monsters actually eat proper food. Like, Mettaton puts glitter on burgers for kind of like... I mean, there's edible glitter, but... Actually, no, it's glitter and sequins. Sequins are definitely not edible. So, maybe monsters just kind of ate as a formality. Well, there's quiches. I don't know. It's kind of weird in Undertale. Like, it seems like, yeah, they can eat, but it doesn't seem like they actually need to. Because there's no, like, agriculture. Right? Like, monsters... Like, in Deltarune, there's literally a grocery store. Like, they don't have a grocery store in Undertale anywhere. Like, they have Grillby's. But... They order the burger, like, if you order the burger or fries with Sans, like, neither of you eat it. Like, Sans doesn't eat it, you don't eat it. I guess Sans drinks ketchup, I guess, but I don't know. Yeah, it's weird to think about. I think it's kind of something that Toby is kind of just like, it is funny, therefore I will do it. But, like, yeah, with Napstablook in Undertale, we constantly see him, like, fading in and out. Like a ghost would, but in Deltarune, someone correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we get to see that. I think Napstablook stays, like, solid, like, all the time in Deltarune. So, could be evidence that he is also just a biological monster. Anyway. Melody the Felony. Alternatively, it was a thing in Undertale, but the characters didn't know about Dark World, so it never came up. What are they talking about? Oh, guys, I'm so stupid. I have my freaking power saver mode on again. That's why my laptop is running like Dookie. I'm so dumb. Okay, what are they talking about? Dark fountains were a thing. Dark fountains were a thing in Undertale, but the characters didn't. What are they talking about? So maybe they're talking about fountains. I'm not entirely sure. It's kind of vague. But they didn't know about Dark World, so it never came up. I mean, maybe. I just don't think that's very convincing. During the fight with Jacketstein, it very explicitly says Chris's soul shines with the brilliant light. Yet during the Titan fight, it explicitly says your soul shines with the brilliant light, drawing a line between Chris's soul and our soul. I would have to verify this because I don't remember this being a line in Jacketstein's fight. So, if that's true, something important to look at. If not, then, you know, whatever. But I would have to take a look. But to give me some stretching room here, to be fair, Toby's writing can be kind of a little bit, shall we say, inconsistent at times. As careful as he tries to be. Could it be intentional? Maybe. Could it also not maybe be intentional? Maybe. So I'm going to cope and say it wasn't intentional if it is true. YoBud6637. I wonder about this too. You're not alone in that. I just had no idea how to word it until this video. Thanks for helping me with that. You're so welcome. That was always something I felt like about making theory videos. It's like there's no way I can put my thoughts together in like a video that actually makes sense for someone to watch, you know? And here we are. So, you know, try it. Just give it a shot. How hard can it be? Write a script. Not a super detailed script, but like bullet points and stuff. Well, I guess mine was a detailed script and I just read it. Like as voiceover. I don't know, whatever. Do your research, write a script, do the voiceover, edit your video, do it. Go for it. I created a dark fountain in your house, my bad. Also, not to mention that Rousey would have to know a lot more about Noel. I don't know why. I don't feel like reading this one. Rousey would have to know a lot more about Noel than he does about Susie in order for Noel to be the second hero. Rousey, from what we know in Chapter 4, only knows what items of the trios Noel can equip. I guess this is about if Noel could be the second hero or not instead of Susie. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's really too important. I think it could be either, like, I guess kind of what I've come to. I think it could be either Susie or Noel that is the second hero. And I think that's kind of the point. Like, it's supposed to be vague. Intentionally. I have arriveth. Welcome, Martian. I think what it means by the soul being important to save the world bit is that's the only thing that can seal Dark Fountains. That's about Rousey directly in Chapter 1, and even the caller in Chapter 4 saying that without the soul, Chris can't, which probably implies they need it for either that or for something else we don't know about. A lot of people in the comments were saying that actually in the Japanese localization, it seems like it's saying that Chris can't enter Dark Worlds without the soul. Now, why that is can be debated. Like, some people are thinking maybe it's because Chris can't seal the fountains and therefore escape. But, I mean, you can always just find, like, a great door to get out, so... But, for whatever reason, in the Japanese, it seems like Chris is unable to enter Dark Worlds without the soul. For whatever reason. Anyway. And the whole prophecy warns about an imbalance of light and dark, so will be the key in closing the imbalance. As a whole other tangent, certain things might the experiment Gaster fell into, and perhaps the soul we are using, which curiously is named differently from the player... What? This might be the experiment Gaster fell into. Like Deltarune? Deltarune is the experiment. What do they mean? And perhaps the soul we are using, which curiously is named differently from the player. What does that mean? The soul we're using is named differently from the player. Like, is that... Are they talking about the Goner Maker sequence? I have no idea. I'm so confused reading this. Could eventually be from Undertale. When he's scattered through space and time is all reality. Anytime people start talking about timelines or alternate realities or parallel worlds in relation to Undertale and Deltarune, I want to, like, not do fun things. I always find it odd that no one has any clue on what Chris's soul is. Okay, I'm done reading this. Goodbye. This is a great Walmart video. I really hope to see more of your theories. Thank you, Mem9959. My friend, you absolutely cooked with this video. Worth it for the dramatic Azrael voiceover alone. Thank you. I'm validated. I thought it was Gabriel talking. I don't know if they mean like the literal angel Gabriel or something, but I guess my intro was just that good. Finally, someone asks the question. Say that again. That's again with a weird route line. Lore of there are no souls, no souls. I don't... Sahil Hossain. Bro, what is this? I don't know. I feel like I should delete it, but... Huh, yeah, that cemented it. Everyone is a heart, but we only have one human soul-shaped object. Exactly. Yeah, this is kind of one of the points I'm trying to make. Like, maybe everybody is a heart, right? But only we have the human soul-shaped object. Only we could have the opinion that those heart-shaped pillows are shaped like souls. You know? Or human soul-shaped. I think that in Deltarune, monsters can bleed. It's only Undertale that monsters don't. Sans. Sans. Why does Sans bleed? Ketchup? Was it ketchup? Is that what you want to say? Little kid in Deltarune is clearly just that. A kid doesn't know anything, and those questions they pose should not be taken as clues. Yes, I agree. I agree. I agree. Stop using the little rabbit kid as proof. So this is the power of the 7 human beers. Is this the part where we have Asgore clips? 148. I think this is the driving in my car. Yeah. Yep, okay. The power of the 7 Asgore driving memes. Smiley face. Thank you. The smiley guy 9799. This isn't even my final form. 6814. I do have one counter argument, and that is I think determination works the same way in both games. While we don't see anyone make a Dark Fountain Undertale, I think entry 17 is confirmation that Dark Fountains do exist. Okay, that's actually an interesting counter argument. Specifically by the line photon readings negative. That's true. That's actually a good point. I didn't think about that. The sentence can either mean that it's completely dark, since you know no photons or how to interpret it. Literally less than 0, so it's darker than dark, which is exactly what dark fountains are. I think that this meaning is strongly implied by preceding lines dark, darker, yet darker. Despite what I said earlier, I do think we can see the creation of a dark fountain in Undertale. Specifically, the genocide route when Kara destroys the world. They basically just stab the world really, really hard, and upon reloading the game, you met the black screen and roaring wind is the background noise. Oh, snap. Chat, why is this... Hold on, his writing is fire? Hold on, let this comment cook. I think this is Kara using the determination gathered by the player to open a dark fountain so large that it immediately starts the roaring. So from this, I think it's pretty clear that determination works the same between both games, and therefore most likely have the same restrictions, i.e. it comes from souls in both games. I do think that monsters in Deltarune have more determination than in Undertale, though. That's probably why a war like the one in Undertale never happened. I do think that monsters in Deltarune have more determination than in Undertale, though. That's probably why a war like the one in Undertale never happened, among other things. I feel like if monsters had more determination in Deltarune than in Undertale, they would be more likely for a war. Wouldn't it mean they're more dangerous? I'm a little confused on that. Okay. The only really odd detail in my theory is how you don't get determination message when saving, but considering I have multiple save slots, a different color of save points, as well as have the main menu from Deltarune is implied to be a part of whatever construct Gaster's been cooking up. I think it's safe to say the oddities are due to Gaster's meddling with the save system, rather than a difference in how determination functions. Hold on. I read that. I did not comprehend a single word. What? Determination stuff and save points. Yeah. Gaster metal. Yeah, I guess that's kind of just device theory, right? I guess. I don't know. Cooked. I'm not entirely sold, but I think this is actually a decent counter argument. Good job. This isn't even my final form. You showed me an interesting counter argument. Do I think there are some problems? Yes, but at least it's actually interesting and not just the same. But yeah. Anyway, keep cooking. What if the town we are in is like a concentration camp of the underground? They're trapped in on an island. This just became like friggin', I don't know, Squid Game, not Squid Game. I think there are probably better ways to try and explain the world of Deltarune than a whole conspiracy about... Well, the shelter. That is an odd thing, isn't it? Like, why does the shelter exist? That is kind of one thing for, like, the monster-human war never happened in Deltarune. Why is there a shelter? Why do they need a bunker for? And why does Alphys in Chapter 4 talk about it like it's really weird that, like, nobody goes in there? It's there to avoid, like, something really bad from happening. But no one's been there. She's never been in there. She's never seen it. And like people avoid it. I don't know. It's really strange. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not even certain we can be sure that there was no war in Deltarune. But anyway, maybe not a monster-human war, but like some kind of conflict. Like why would they need a bunker? I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see and wait like what's actually in there. You see, Susie said no to me once, and of course this means she has some sort of ultra special power beyond my comprehension. It's not like that. My perception is wrong because the other two party members, we had such pushovers at the point they can't deny any orders. Notice to be something in Susie because I can't guess a character simply saying no to me. I'm not entirely sure. I think they're being sarcastic. I don't know what point they're being sarcastic on. Play. Play it. Please, YouTube. Why are we doing this right now? Why is my Wi-Fi so bad, bro? Please. Do I have something? Shut up. There we go. I have no idea what this person is trying to say. Susie said no to me once, and of course this means she has some sort of... What? Are they trying to say that I think Susie has some sort of super special power? I'm so lost. Because I wasn't even trying to make a point about Susie there, really. Yeah, I'm not really sure what they're trying to say. The only thing that doesn't support this theory is monsters still being made of magic and that determination exists still. Bro just made that up. Your Wi-Fi is bad because you're using Wi-Fi. True. Get this man a true. What is this like saying? Your theory is wrong because I think it's wrong. Like, the whole point of my video is like, I don't think this is true. I think there's evidence to suggest this is not true. Right? And it's like, oh, actually it is. And also determination. What? Why are there 7 replies? Monsters turn to dust upon death due to their bodies being primarily made of magic. Without a soul, their bodies can't persist. Excuse me. Soul capsule. Yeah. It's never said in Deltarune that their bodies are made of magic. You're just bringing that assumption from Undertale. True. In what world does determination prove souls exist? When it's been disassociated from souls in Deltarune. They still turn to dust. That's evidence enough. That's just an assumption you're making about justification. That could just be monster biology. You don't have evidence that it's because they're made of magic. Biology that can't possibly run without magic. Monsters are magic. Ah! You know, jellyfish like don't have a brain. Jellyfish don't have brains. Like, there's all sorts of impossible seeming biology, you know? Yet look at our world around us. We have literal aliens down in the ocean, you know? Like, I don't get why this is... It doesn't matter how they actually work. It just matters that they operate on biological principles. Right? Okay. Them being called monsters is itself evidence of magical origin. I'm not sure about that. I don't think that's generally a rule in fantasy. Like, usually something's called a monster because it's like they evolved from some sort of organism that hunts humans into something that was potentially into something with actual intelligence, right? Like, I don't... Also, there are monsters with magical properties, even in the light world, like flying heads or having elemental traits. There's literally a girl made of fire and she's green. And I'm saying, yeah, she's on fire and she's green, but you can produce green fire in the physical world, right? On chemical principles. Like, she could just be a monster that biologically produces green fire chemically for whatever reason, you know? Anyway. I have no idea what you're talking about. Diagonal Chris was funny. Also, I love the masculine Chris here. Just makes me imagine, like, Chris with stubble and, like, wearing one of Dess's, like, lumberjack shirts, you know? And just, like, a really emo dude. Like, it's just Chris. Monsters Turning to Dust could just be them talking about cremation. Maybe it's not that deep. That would actually be kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. I thought you said your wife instead of Wi-Fi, so it sounded like you were asking why your wife was so bad, bro. Remember that this is just a theory. A game theory. But that's just a theory. A game theory. And cut. Yep, exactly. Also, oh, this comment, like, this guy cooked. This guy cooked. Also, if you think of why the war in Undertale, like, this is what got me thinking about that. I didn't even think about this originally. Why the war was in Undertale was started in the first place, the fear of monsters with a human soul. If both are empty or some variation of that idea, then it would make sense why there's no sign of a human monster war in Deltarune, because there would be no fear of monsters taking souls and becoming godlike, therefore no need for the war. Also, if monsters are biological and lacking magic, then we'll also give more credit to my thought process of monsters and humans being more equal, making war against the race is pointless. Exactly! Like, louder for the folks. Like, somehow I didn't put that together. This Pillum cooked. This guy cooked. Like, I didn't think about that. This is actually, it makes so much sense, though. I feel like I should pin this comment. I kind of want to. I'm going to do it. Forget my Discord comment, you know? What about needing some form of soul to feel love? This whole theory is about souls in Deltarune working differently from Undertale, but still. Yeah, that's just what I would say. Like, that's just an Undertale thing. Like, that's part of having, like, a soul in Deltarune, in Undertale, was that it's the culmination of your being, right? It's like, it's kind of like the seed of your consciousness. So therefore, yeah, like, you need consciousness to experience love, right? Like, yeah, that's just an Undertale thing. Like, that's just not a thing in Deltarune. Like, we have no reason to believe that's a thing in Deltarune, you know? So, yeah. Personally, I think that in Deltarune, everyone has the same kind of soul, and that monsters aren't made of magic, that Chris lost their own soul somehow. This is just complicating your hypothesis, but okay. The bloodstained and beaten cage is there before we even got shown Chris, so maybe they took it out a couple times and it fell down the sink or whatever. Guys, Chris's soul was actually the bath bomb that got flushed down the toilet. That's why Chris acts like a zombie when Chris takes out our human soul as an Undertale soul. This is not cooking. This is not cooking. This is burnt. Chris is dying without their own soul and uses ours as a crutch both to survive and do the evil plan Chris and Carol have. So every fight uses our soul, even when Chris doesn't participate in, like Gerson and Gerson statue fights. This man said, "Screw evidence and arguments." Yeah. Chat. How do you even respond to this? My brain hurts just thinking about how you even like fan in your way to believing this, you know? Like, Chris is just a little goofy goober. They're just a weirdo. We know this. Everything we read about Chris, how they normally act, just shows us this is exactly how they would act if we weren't possessing them. Noelle says they're acting really weird. And do you know why they're acting really weird? Because they're talking to people. They're walking straight. They're like being present. That's just how Chris normally is. And like, Chris is perfectly capable of like lunging towards the soul. Chris also has like perfect aim. Every time Chris throws something at us, like in chapter 4, they don't miss. Chris nails those shots. And also is in the closet and swinging that hockey stick around. Like, there's no way they're on the verge of death when we're not possessing them. Sorry. Like, chapter 4 just debunks that whole idea. I always assumed that because monsters can't do magic, none of the food is made of magic, which means they eat more physical matter, which allows them to bleed. Yeah, I mean, that's just... Yeah, monsters are biological. You are what you eat, you know? Basically what I said, I think. Exactly. Cross Niku. Maybe souls aren't mentioned known in Deltarune universe simply because there was never a war or a barrier that required souls. So what I mean is souls aren't near as important to Deltarune's universe as their Undertales. For example, as soon as you fall into the underground, Fly explains us what a soul is in lore. That could be used to say that humans just don't know how to project their soul at will, or even that they had it to begin with, because it simply stopped being relevant after the war, so irrelevant that its meaning got lost in time. Again, why would there be no war? Well, if the thing you're fighting over doesn't exist, you don't really have a reason to fight, do you? So I'm kind of tired of these people who are just like, well, the war just didn't happen, and so there was no need to research souls or like look into souls, and people don't know about souls. It's like, in Undertale, like, how do people just not know about souls, right? Like, if we assume the starting conditions for both Undertale and Deltarune are the same world, right? Like, how does one universe, like, actively know that souls exist, have a whole war about it, and then seal an entire race underground over that conflict, and the other one, people are just totally oblivious, there's no war, and everything's hunky-dory, you know, like, with no... okay. Anyway. What about the night fight? Gaster talks about us being determined there. I guess, yeah. But I feel like determination can also probably just be, like, the will to overcome hardship in Deltarune, probably, maybe, sort of-ish. I don't know. Yeah, it's something to think about. Another voice glazing comment. I absolutely love your voice. It's so nice to listen to. Thank you. Etanifi? I don't know how to read that. I'm sorry. Here's EJ. Don't mind me, just inflating the comment section to show... Jeez, why couldn't I read that? Inflating the comment section to show support. Stone emoji. Rose emoji. I think this theory is wrong because I am right. Nerd emoji. Thanks, EJ. Otaku LVE. I feel like while parts of this are interesting, the study of souls in Undertale was heavily dependent on tech and magic that already exists in the world in Deltarune. There are no such things as boss monsters whose souls persist after the... and their bodies are made of magic, so given how determination works in their world, there's no fear of melting. Yeah, I don't know, man. Is this kind of brain rot? This feels brain rot. Yeah, this just feels like fan and brain rot, you know? Like Rose hallucinating this. Okay, next. Good video, interesting theory, but I do have a problem with you saying that monsters bleeding is normal Deltarune, mainly because if that's the case, why is Toriel never cleaned or apparently noticed the huge blood stain in Chris's room? Color it doesn't look like it's a fresh stain. Why wouldn't you know? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I talked about this. I think I mentioned it here. Oh, here we go. Okay, I didn't get to the part where you literally brought this up in the video. But also, you're implying that Chris just essentially is completely neglected. No! I'm not trying to say that Chris is neglected. I'm saying it could be the case that Chris's side of the room is neglected. Just look at the shelves. Like, if Toriel wouldn't leave the bloodstain on the floor like that, like, come on, it's Toriel. She's not gonna leave Chris's half of the room looking like that. Right? Like, Toriel would insist Chris has something. So either Toriel legit doesn't care about that side of the room, or it could be Chris just wants their room, that side of the room like that, and makes Toriel not mess with it, you know? Like, okay. But monsters and oh gosh, this is long. Also, don't need capsules to possess determination. Flowey is proof of this. Monsters in Undertale also don't need capsules to possess determination. Flowey is proof of this. Flowey's not a monster. Like, Flowey is literally not a monster. Like, Flowey is literally a flower that was injected with determination. Flowey's not a monster. So Flowey's not proof of this. Like, Flowey was a vessel, right? Like, we don't see any monsters without souls in Undertale that don't have determination. Like, Flowey does not count as a monster. They were a special vessel. A vessel with, like, someone's essence on it, you know? It's a very categorically different thing to a monster. Anyway. In Undertale, capsules are merely the source of determination, which can be extracted and then injected into other things for various effects. Blah, 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 blah. Melting. Yeah, yeah. Amalgams. Maybe nobody knows about souls because there's no need for a royal scientist. Yeah, there was no barrier. There was no war. Yeah, we talked about this. Yep. I don't believe falling down's a scientific term. Neither do I. I made the whole point about how falling down isn't mentioned in Deltarune, unlike in Undertale. And people were like, oh, well, yeah, but, like, falling down isn't like... They just don't call it that, you know? And I'm just... It's like... Like, the whole reason that thing is called falling... Like, I'm like, okay, linguistics aside, right? It could be called slipping on a banana. right? In Undertale, they could call the coma state a monster goes into before dying, like slipping on a banana. It doesn't matter. The fact is that in Deltarune, nobody mentions that monsters go into a coma before dying, right? It doesn't matter if none of the books say, like, it doesn't matter if none of the books talk about falling down, specific, like, that term, right? Like, it could be, like, it could just not be called falling down, right? But they would still talk about monsters going into comas before they die. Like, maybe it wouldn't be called falling down, but it'd be called something else. That's for sure. We always make euphemisms for things. Anyway. No counterpoints here about monsters being biological. I just think a better justification is that they all have bathrooms, toilets, also restaurants and grocery stores. Things that don't exist in Undertale. Monsters wouldn't need toilets if they had no organs because they're made of magic. Also, it's a kid. Children are usually ignorant and naive. Yes, I agree with this guy on that. I'm just Rye. I agree on that. This is, yes. Or Spampton specifically needed our capsule. I love people actually using capsule. That's great. Specifically needed our capsule because the human capsules are confirmed to be much stronger than the monster capsules, to the point where the power and or determination of a human capsule is equal to the capsules of entirely of monster kind. But that's... But if determination has nothing to do with souls in Deltarune, right? Like, the save points are making that clear. Like, determination and souls aren't linked. Then there's no, like, variance. There's no variance in who has more determination or not. Like, presumably Susie, Noelle, Birdley, and Chris can all make fountains of the same strength, quote-unquote strength, you know? Well, actually, you know what? Susie's fountain... Something I noticed when I was editing, the fountain that Susie made is actually kind of, like, smaller. It's actually smaller than the one Chris made. So... You know, maybe there is kind of some evidence for that. I don't know. But I don't... Yeah, I don't know. I would just say I don't think that's correct. I mean, in Undertale, determination was defined by Alphys as the power to defy or rewrite fates, if I recall correctly. So, yeah. Rewrite fate. Hello, Sea Salt Sky. Welcome to the stream. I'm sorry. I probably read that really late. I am not sure what you were meaning to reply to. Sorry. I think the reason Deltarune is so vague about souls is because they aren't as important as they were in Undertale. I mean, sure, that could be it, but I think this is way too intentional for that. To just be that they're just not as important. I don't know. Why did they reference the world being a game in the Azrael fight? Why did they do it and nowhere else? What is Kara doing the text? Help me. Determinism is definitely not a parallel to how you are bound by video game choices, right, guys? I've had the opposite belief that all Lightners have souls in the way the human in Undertale would have souls, but since we are the soul from Undertale, we possess the same abilities just in Deltarune. But we don't. We can't use determination. We don't save and reload. Gaster does it for us with the device. Right? Like, we don't possess the same. Additionally, that means we are special because we migrated from Undertale. That I actually could see. That we migrated from Undertale. That I actually could see being kind of the case. Except that I don't even think we maybe originate from Undertale. Maybe we also kind of manifest as a player in Undertale. I don't know. And everybody else's soul in Deltarune functions how a soul from Deltarune would, which we don't know how. What? This is an utterly meaningless statement then. Souls in Deltarune functions the way souls in Deltarune function, which we don't know how that is. What? Okay. Was responding to what you said, like determination Deltarune could just be defined as the power to defy fate or something like that, while talking about Gaster in the night fight thing. Oh yeah, that. No. Not about defying fate. It was about like just how we use it in the real world. Like, right? Like if someone's determined to do something, it's not that they're literally rewriting fate, right? But just they're willing to struggle through or overcome hardship in order to meet a goal. You know, like that could just be what it means. You know, like our more common usage of determinism and not the Undertale brain rot version of determination. Anyway. Okay, we're done with this guy. I think he's going a little crazy. I'll keep this comment simple. Here it is. Undertale is a story about deciding fate. Deltarune is a story about defying fate. Do with that information as you please. Cooked. Dreadnought. This guy cooked. I think this is very, 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 very true. Oh, like the literal definition of the word. Yes, exactly. That's right. Read Legends of Localization Book 3 Undertale to help you out. I want to. I want to get it from Fangamer so bad. Good analysis. Thank you. Just a nice interaction from LHW-J5Q. Is that a bot? I don't know. Ben-chan 420. Wait, what if the soul glows in the dark because it's actually been a federal agent? Okay, yeah, this guy. Maybe Des was a fed too. Des actually groomed Chris because they're a fed. Would definitely explain why Asgore ran her over. She wanted to stop him from creating his own flower-based operating system. Asgore ran Des over because she groomed Chris. Okay, anyway. Oh, Lord. Why is this so long? Oh, my gosh. How long is this? No. I can't read this. Oh, my gosh. Oh, did I respond? I did. I ain't reading all that. Probably call it two-sided mirror theory. I don't know. Brother. Just make a video. I ain't reading all this. I mean, if the soul is literally us, then we're not from Undertale. We're from here. Nope. Yeah, I would think so. I think that's probably true. The scarce idea determination is the characters, the individual. The soul is tagged to is wild to me. What? Scared. What? So I think what they're saying is that they find it weird to just have a distinction between like the characters in the game having determination and us being the soul. They think that's wild. I don't know why. I think the game literally demonstrates like it's the Lightners that have a determination. It's not us. Not in a bad way, but like it's just off-putting to me. The difference between Chris and Frisk is fills you with determination, literally being us, you as in plural. I can't read this. What does that mean? Being us, you as in plural. Frisk is us, we are Frisk. No. Quite literally, no. Why are we so in tune? It's because we, as the soul, are meant for Frisk in that instance. Or it's because they're younger than Chris. However, we can reject our pairing by abusing that bond. No good pairing. Chat, do I need to read this? Chris lost his soul because he walks around limp when he pulls out the soul. I think he lost his soul, so maybe the lowercase soul is something they all have, but you can still lose it. No. Chris is just like that. They don't limp. They just walk around weirdly. Chris is just a freaky little weirdo. It's not that they're dying when they pull the soul out. They're just a freaky little weirdo. Them walking around normally and talking to people is what's weird. Noelle says this. Noelle's like, Chris has been acting not like themselves at all lately. It's like, what do you mean? They're just walking around and talking. Yeah, because Chris doesn't talk to people or walk around like a normal person. I'm sorry. I'm crashing out a little too hard. Like, I said this a few minutes ago, but Chris lunges onto the soul with perfect form, catches us every time. Whenever Chris throws things at us, they never miss. It's just bam, sniped. And Chris can literally run through Noelle's house, right? Full sprinting around. And then we get in the closet and Chris is swinging that hockey stick around, jumping all over the place. Chris is not dying. Chris is not dying without the soul. Ah! I'm sorry. This drives me insane. Chris is just a freaky little weirdo. That's it. That's the explanation. Okay? Okay, I'm not reading this comment. It's so freaking long. As I said, I ain't reading all that. Make your own theory, bro. You should, if you can write something this long, you should actually do it. You should actually make your own theory, though. I'm sure people would watch. There. Now I'm not just being totally mean. Okay. Jatman 9556. I don't know why sometimes I can't read things. I mean, Noelle doesn't really say a thing about how they move. I mean, yeah, but I think it's just kind of a given. If Chris is just really not acting like themselves, that like the way they're going around is kind of part of that, right? Like, Chris is very antisocial. They're awkward. They're quiet. Like, have you ever seen how quiet, antisocial, awkward people walk around? They walk around like Chris. I'm just saying. Chris probably does all this because he is trans monster. What? What does that mean? Okay, just want to point out, I'm pretty sure determination and will are two different things. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's true. Toby says determination means you cannot die of the will not to die, and you can save load, hence the state determined, blah, blah, blah. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I agree. I agree with Jatman. I've been diving deep in Undertale Deltarune theories lately. Gotta say yours is pretty solid and unique. Can't wait to hear more from you. Yay! Nice. Thank you for your comment. Isn't all what Alfie says about determination Undertale? You know, someone whose whole only job is to study human souls, that what gives the ability to all human souls persist after that. Now, my theory interpretation is the ability to save a lonely underground may not be common knowledge. What? Something inherently in the human soul nature, nor their main thing, as he made it sound in the video. Not even other sources like the inscriptions in Waterfall ever mention save and load as something souls are known for. I personally think it's yeah, because like as Andrew Cunningham points out, saving and loading is only a mechanic within the script of Undertale, as Toby wrote it. I think that's less of a lore thing, and it's more just like, it's a game. You have to be able to save and load. How can we justify that in the lore? Well, it's because, you know, like, I don't think Toby's trying to write out a full, like, entire world about how, like, you know, I think he's trying to tell a self-contained story, and that's kind of just the bullet he had to bite to do it. You know, I don't think we're going to get a lore explanation for, like, why nobody on the surface can save and load, you know? Anyway. He got monster dysphoria, so he's asocial. That's, you know, that's actually probably kind of fair, to be honest. Honestly, when it came to souls and determination, Deltarune compared to Undertale, I just figured this was because presumably the war between monsters human never happened in this world. Yeah, we know. The human monster war never happened. Guys, it didn't happen because there was nothing to fight over. If souls don't exist, the war wouldn't happen. Boom, there you go. You just proved my theory. Anyway, this is great. Thanks, the Pig Village. Also, thanks for the comment, Jamie606. To be honest, it's an interesting theory, but my main problem is that Deltarune's theorists have always seen things black and white when it's not like that. Monsters are said to be mostly made of magic, not only magic, in the same way humans are said to be mostly water, but we know we're just not just water. But, okay. But that's not saying we're like 70% water, 30% magic. It's saying we're 70% water, and we're like 30% like flesh and minerals and organic, like... Okay. Also, the prophecy part, wrong. The prophecy is very literal, so Suzier's hands bleeding may just mean that they have more matter than the average monster, which makes perfect sense. How does that make perfect sense? Where does that come from? What? Okay. What the hell? You're that Timetail re-uploader. This person knows about my archiving. In Undertale, when someone is near death, monsters refer to them as falling down. This is because when Kara fell down Mount Ebot, they were horribly injured and near death. It was a euphemism. There's simply no reason for falling down to exist as a concept in Deltarune. Okay, this is making a linguistic point, right? My point wasn't that nobody talks about the euphemism falling down. It's that nobody talks about people going into a coma before dying, right? Like I said earlier, they could call it slipping on a banana peel. It doesn't matter. The fact is that nobody mentions coma-like states in Deltarune. And I think that was basically my response back and forth with this person. Yeah, is that a fan in hallucination? Something we actually have textual evidence for. I've never heard that before. Yeah. Also, Kara was never like... We never read that Kara was horribly injured falling down. Like, Azrael helps them up and takes them to home, you know? Yeah, so we kind of just talk about, like, the linguistics and stuff. Anyway, one counter about skeletons. Maybe, yeah, the kid is asking from where the skeleton brothers come from. Yeah, this is the second time someone said this. And it's like, if you just read the context of what the kid is saying. No, that's not what he's talking about. It's in the same vein as the blood question, right? One question, why I see Russian title, do you add some YouTube feature? So I actually was like looking through my email the other day, and I just happened to stumble upon an email from YouTube that was like, hey, we turned on auto translate dubbing on your channel. I'm like, what? Okay. So apparently, if you are watching YouTube in some other language, my YouTube is automatically being dubbed in another language with AI or something, probably. I don't know. So that's cool, I guess. There's a weird line from Toby himself in the localization book that says the person who can control saving and loading is the most determined person in the underground. Yeah, and I think that's probably just because of, like, practical thing, you know? Like, it's a story about the underground. It's not a story about the surface. So it's like, why bother trying to make a whole thing about, like, well, actually, Frisk can do it because, like, despite the, like, above ground, you know, it's like, yeah, no, it just doesn't matter to the story. Like, it doesn't matter. That's why it's just the underground. What if Susie only bleeds because she is in the dark world and it's different physics in there? I would just say we just have no evidence of that. Like, there's just no evidence for that. Yo, I don't know why it would be such a dramatic moment if it's just because things work different in the dark world, you know? I don't think that makes sense. Yo, I'm late. Sorry. Welcome, non-existent. Thanks for being here. No forgiveness. No forgiveness. Actually, no. Jesus tells me to forgive everyone, so. I love the theory, and I actually think it has a strong... Oh, wait. I just realized then the weird root Birdly probably had fallen down. That's why they can be unresponsive, cold to the touch, but not dust. I think this is an interesting theory. Do I think it's true that Birdly's fallen down? I don't think Birdly is going to die. I mean, maybe. This could be true. I'm just not certain of it. Like, I don't think Birdly's gonna die, but we'll see. Because, like, the thing is, nobody, like, if Birdly is just falling down, like, why is he the first case of anyone ever being fallen down? Like, nobody knows what's happened to him, you know? Like, nobody says, oh, Birdly's gonna, like, nobody's, like, panicked that Birdly's gonna die, you know? Like, if this was a common thing, people would be like, oh my gosh, why is Birdly, like, on the brink of dying, you know? Like, but nobody's questioning it, so clearly this is abnormal. Anyway. I love the theory, and I think it actually has a strong chance of being true, and I actually thought about this, but what puzzles me is why Chris got sick without us. They did not. I think I laid out the whole thing here, didn't I? Yep. They're just a little weirdo. Exactly. I'm not going to go on the whole rant again, but Chris is just a freaky little weirdo. That's it. There you go. This theory is immediately plausible to me because remember the basis of the entire human versus monster war in Undertale. If a monster killed a human, they could absorb the human soul to become extremely strong. Exactly. So how would you create an alternate world where humans and monsters can at least tolerate each other without locking away the other? Remove the souls from the equation. Ba-bam! Cooked. Matthew 6148. This guy cooked. Get this man a true. I really like this theory. Nice one. Also, this does explain why Chris can live without the soul. It could just be the case that it wasn't theirs in the first place. And I always struggled with the fact that when the soul is hit, the game decides to reduce HP from Chris, Susie, and Rousey, not just Chris himself. It's itself. That's interesting. Okay. Themself? It just made no sense. However, if we think about it this way, the soul is a free creature. You could say it's us, and Chris, a soulless creature like any human and monster without a soul in the universe, has it trapped inside, being our cage. Exactly. Cooked. Captain Toad, cooked. Why do I keep using the word soul and capsule interchangeably? What's that about? Bro missed the whole part of the video where I said I was going to do that, so. Some things I thought about while hearing theory. Pro theory. We have theory pro now, guys. Theory Pro 17. Noelle never entertains the idea of the pillows being souls, only ever referring to them as being heart-shaped objects. The soul and she never calls Chris, like, pretending to rip it out and chase her with it, like Chris ripping out their soul. It's Chris ripping out their heart, you know? The soul seemingly represents all party members. Yep. Con, Susie sees our souls multiple times, but never. But never? sees it multiple times but never. I'm not sure what they were trying to say with that. Literally nobody besides Rousey, Crystal Bosses, ERAM, and Evil Group Chat seem to me know we exist. I don't know why that would be a con. I feel like that'd be a pro, because it's like, if souls existed, like everybody would know. So it's strange that only a certain subset of people know that we exist. It seems to suggest that we are something unique. So I'm not sure why that's a con, but okay. Maybe Susie sees a soul but never questions it. I mean, she does in chapter 4, so I don't know. I don't know. Cap soul seems to refer to something as strange. Your soul shine its power takes up 5 times and takes up 3. Blah blah blah. Sussy. I don't know why they keep spelling Susie as sussy. I like the theory of Deltarune characters not possessing a cap soul, but man, did your video make me angry at how drawn out and boring it is. This poor guy. He had to sit through the torture of watching my video. Sorry you didn't enjoy the presentation. Most likely I'm just catering to an audience that like me, who enjoys pretentious and theatrical video essays, which I understand is not everyone's thing. I'm so sorry you had to be tortured by sitting through this video that you could click off anytime. There's also transcripts now. YouTube does auto transcripts, so you could also skim through if you wanted. I like the duality. The duality of these two comments here. I hated your stupid and boring video. This one person, I came here for a theory, not to be emotionally devastated all over again halfway through the video. Target audience. Non-target audience. Spamton refers to the player's soul as a heart-shaped object, not their soul. Proceeds to show Spamton referring to the player's soul as a soul. Yeah, so, okay. I only caught that in editing, but I left it in. Let's see. Let's get to the clip. I only noticed that while editing, and I was like, oh shoot, how did I miss that? But Spamton does in fact refer to the soul as a capital soul. Your heart-shaped object. Let's see, where is it? I think it's here. Just need that little soul. Yeah. You have... Wait, well, I mean, to be fair, the Spamton doesn't actually say it. Like, they have their weird little, like, commercial cut has to say soul for Spamton. So it technically doesn't say it. So, you know? I don't know. Just saying. But it could also be at this point, like Spamton's been contacted by presumably device friend, like somebody who's in the know, right? So it's not hard to believe that Spamton could have some knowledge about, like, us. You know? Anyway. And, let's see. Let's read this dialogue. I just need that little soul, right? Spamton would say, I need your soul. I need that little soul. As if it's like a third-party object, you know? And not a possession of Chris. Anyway. So I think the theory holds up despite it, to be honest. Oh my gosh. Did Tricky Tony plan this all along? Yet no one noticed? Souls. Capsules. 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 I think it's kind of a fun connection. I don't think it's intentional. But I think I kind of just happened to stumble onto something that's really clever. So. He is a child, going off base what you're saying. His words show that he should be taken with a pinch of salt. Exactly. That's the little rabbit kid again. So where's the skeletons coming from question was also made in Undertale. The papyrus making the conclusion that humans come from skeletons, which is obviously wrong. I mean, I don't know if it's obviously wrong. They're literally like a creature. Well, I guess it's magic, so I don't know. But also this little kid, just a kid, doesn't know anything. I'm glad so many people agree with that. So that means we can finally stop hearing this as evidence for why Susie is half human. Hear me out. Friend is a big joke. The tail of hell is either a Titan or a Titan spawn. I really don't think so. Like, I think all the evidence is pointing to Friend being a really big deal. Dang, it's got me thinking about the metaphor, being a metaphor for Chris's home life. Of course, Asriel overshadowed Chris with all his achievement and a rapport, but it's to the point that people don't even notice Chris's bloodstains, not until Susie... Yes! This comment cooked. Yeah, I think, like, Chris's side of the room looking the way it does, like, really kind of is just showing, like, it's like a small view into, like, basically their whole life at the minute, you know? Like, neglected, pretty much. Like, everyone kind of neglects Chris, which is why I don't think it's that terrible or hard to believe that maybe their side of the room is neglected. or Toriel is a bit neglectful. Like, I mean, guys, end of chapter 4. Come on, I don't know why you're so hurt by the thought that maybe Toriel is kind of neglectful in Deltarune. We're literally out with Susie. Like, the track in chapter 4, when we're in the church in the middle of the night, is like, what, 12 a.m.? Chris is out past 12 a.m. and Toriel is getting drunk at home with Sans dancing. Come on. That's a little neglectful. I'm just saying. Please remove the automatic audio translation. I beg you. I don't know how. I'm sorry. I will figure it out, but I will do that. I don't know about everything else, but about soul or no soul, monsters could as well be biological, but I feel like the power that us, the player, has here is courage. Rousey mentions it. Jack Inside Battle, Little Darkness has you collecting courage pellets. Titan Fight also relies on similar mechanics. If in Deltarune we don't have determination, then we have courage. The courage to change the world, the courage to defy fate, and the courage to go against deterministic path. Maybe. I mean, I think probably more likely... Oh yeah, I should reply to this guy. I'm sorry. I don't know how. I'll try. There we go. I think, like what I was saying, I think it's hope. Like, there's determination and there's hope. I think that's kind of the two opposing forces here. Like, I think courage is part of hope. You know, you have to have courage to have hope. Toriel gave up on Chris. We see that. She checked out the book on human soul, but Chris is too weird. Basically what happens to autistic kids all the time. Could be. I still think the soul is the demon Des and Chris summoned. Not Des and Chris, Caddy and Chris. It was Caddy and Chris that summoned the demon. Oh wait, non-existence not existent now? Whoa, I just noticed that. That's weird. I mean, Snowgrave does say lethal or fatal. I forget which. In battle. That's true. That's true. But if it is the case that Birdley has fallen down, nobody knows what that is, which is weird. So I don't know. Maybe it has to do with like dark world magic or something. I don't know. Right, I forgot Caddy existed. Yeah. But it's not Caddy with a Y, it's Caddy with an I. Caddy with a Y is the older one who talks in church. Caddy with the I is the restaurant schoolmate. Yeah, like I think some degree Toriel's probably kind of depressed. I mean, her whole family's falling apart. All she has is little weirdo Chris, you know? So, well, Sans doesn't necessarily bleed an Undertale. It could be ketchup. It could be. Sure, it could be. But I feel like that's the cope we came up with back when Undertale was the only, like, thing we had to go off of. So it's like, we knew monsters couldn't bleed, so we just have to come up with any possible solution to that, because it's like, it made no sense for Sans to bleed. So we're like, it was ketchup. And now, like, we've believed that it was ketchup for so long that people are just, like, convinced that that's just true, you know? So, why is there no Russian audio track, brother? I do not know. An interesting... An old nonsense gag slash nonsense / gag RPG maker game Toby made called pp.exe featured multiple moments with these themes relatable to game characters, placing them all on blah blah blah. I don't think I've read this comment. The appearance of the player forces all living things onto a rail. The game has goners, NPCs who realizes the cracks in their plot or existence and thus erase to avoid breaking your immersion. What? In the end, Porky / Pokey admits nobody has a wise choice but to follow a set script the moment the player appears. But underneath the script, what they really want to do, unlike Deltarune, only Ness has a semblance of freedom through being the player's puppet, and through that freedom, you can choose to let Porky defeat you in the final battle, choosing to give freedom to NPCs at the cost of your continued interaction with the game world. In the end, Porky, lost and confused with his new freedom, finds himself in a cold, snowy town just snowing up. Is this true? Chat, is this true? I've never heard of this before, but this is really interesting. Or you can just fight the final boss because we're going nonsensical with Porky turning into Sigma, and eventually Dr. Willy. I need to play Earthbound, dude. I have no idea who these characters are. Short, plump Porky, tall, lanky Sigma, and the Dr. Willy. P.S. Willy, I don't know. 3 pieces of one character in a silly fan game aware of the strange rules of the game force controlling it. Porky, Sigma, and Willy, or Sans, Papyrus, and WD! I think this guy is kind of cooking. Also, don't play it. It's super obviously made when Toby's brain ran on Halloween, heck, crass, edge, and dumb. But it does hold the seeds that would evolve into much greater games. This man cooked. By the way, with the anniversary stream kind of dropping new lore for monster-human marriage, monsters bleeding could actually... No! No. No. It never said they could have children. It just said there were couples. It said couples had to split up. It never said families had to split up. It said, like, people were reluctant to be in that conflict. Who would willingly, like, give up their kids for a conflict they don't even want to be a part of? You know? Nobody. I mean, you could, I guess you could make that argument for, like, then why would they even separate from their partners? But it's like, I don't know. Like, Gerson never mentions children, and he doesn't have children. So, well, yeah, anyway. Almost like the world revolving. I think I usually hate judging people's theories, especially since mine are trash, but I don't think it makes sense for Susie to be half human, especially since it's never mentioned that human and monster interspecies relationships are taboo in Deltarune, especially since Birdley doesn't mind going on a date with Chris. And also since it was confirmed in the Undertale, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we know, but we don't know they can have children. We don't know they can crossbreed. Actually, I have no idea what you're trying to say with where do skeletons come from. Then, buddy, listen again. Two things. They don't know what souls are because Winggasser is absent. Alphys hasn't gotten the chance to do any research. The bunny isn't questioning his existence, but rather how they relate to human skeletons. I feel like I've addressed both these points, so damn you for adding that as real part to the video because I just bawled my eyes out. Fair enough. Also, you spelled bald wrong. It's B-A-W-L-D. L-E-D. Ballad. The second 10th anniversary yeah. No hybrids. There's no hybrids. Okay. I gotta get to bed. Susie is half human. Good night. Good night. You're wrong, but good night. This is an interesting theory. Seems like the number of comments are connecting lack of soul knowledge to Alfie's determination experience, so they're forgetting that their soul books in Snowbin's library, meaning it's just public knowledge. Seems like the lack of soul knowledge is more likely connected for whatever reason for the late world and Deltarune seem to lack magic. Because there's no magic, no souls, no need for a war. You know? There wouldn't be any research because there's no such thing. Gee, I wrote a lot of comments on your vid. Sorry if I sounded annoying or something. I just really like to theorize a lot of things. That's totally okay. Engagement. I think soul's an anagram, just like love was an Undertale. I don't know, makes sense. Well, what would it be an anagram for? You know? I think people only want Susie to be half human because it sounds cool. It doesn't even sound cool. It just sounds stupid. I'm sorry. It makes no sense. It sounds stupid. There's no thematic reason for it. Like, the only thing I can see is, like, the thematic reason is, like, Susie's kind of an outcast, like Chris. And maybe being half human means, like, you're part... I don't know. It just feels dumb. I'm sorry. It just sounds stupid. Also, Sans can bleed in Undertale, and since Sans is, like, from Deltarune, and confirmed monsters can bleed. Yes. But he does refer to it as a soul. I think that's Spampton, right? Yep, that's Spampton. We talked about that. Another thing just like about, well, the war didn't happen, so therefore they didn't study souls. And it's like, no, there wasn't a war because there are no souls. So they don't like the capitalization. I don't think the capitalization of soul matters at all because the phone call says soul in lowercase. Okay. Well, then you're just wrong. Because Undertale is very, very consistent about always referring to soul as capital soul. And now Deltarune, we have constant switching between soul and capital soul. You know? Battle Titan says your lowercase soul is shining. Okay. So, if it doesn't matter, then why does the funeral book say that their soul is laid to rest? Do you mean that a monster's physical heart shape, like soul, is literally just put in the ground and stays? Like, that's the point I was trying to make. If there is no distinction, then you have to argue for how monster souls get buried in the ground in Deltarune. Like that, that's your burden of proof, man. In the cutscene before the normal Spanton, Neo refers to as a soul. Yep, talked about that. Second hero can't be Susie. Noelle can equip swords. Okay, this is people going into like the code for the game and stuff and seeing what weapons characters can equip, and they're seeing the second hero has a sword. I'm just like, I really am not convinced that this matters. I'm sorry. I'm just really not sure this matters. Maybe it does, but with in regards to the second hero anyway, I didn't say it in theory, but it's like, I think it could literally go either way. It makes sense. Like, the White Pin of Hope, right? The power that shines within. Susie, second hero. This is part of the whole reinterpretation thing, right? Then we have Noelle in the weird route, puppet, growing a new soul, right? That's why some of those murals in the prophecy also have a heart on the second hero, and some don't. It could be like Noelle with a new soul, you know? Yeah. I think it'd go either way. How much longer are these comments? I think we're almost there. Will you play Project Shadowglass? It's a really cool game I saw in development. Probably not. I have not heard of it before. Personally, I believe souls are a thing in Deltarune, but they're different in some way. If no souls exist in Deltarune world at all, why does Spam to mention that he sees a couple of souls? Or something like that in Neophyte? Well, he doesn't say that, so why do they have books on souls if they aren't a thing? I think that's the only, like, reasonable objection. It's like, why is there a book on capital souls if they don't exist? And I guess my objection would probably be... Yeah, I just don't have a good argument for that. Or I don't have a good response to that. Like, the only thing I can say is that I still think my theory has better explanatory power than the alternative. So, like, this is the bullet I have to bite. But at least it's one of the only bullets, you know? I feel like alternative theories have way more bullets you have to bite. There's no doubt about it. We, the player, the angel. We control the soul in order to interact with the world. 1 second, guys. Okay, I'm back. Thought I was hearing some weird freaking noises. Anyway, Matt needs to stream Vintage Story for anything else. Before anything else, so I fear that all his Vintage Story fans will riot against him if he doesn't. True. But I don't want to play Vintage Story on stream. It's like kind of annoying because like the people who want to watch it are like really determined to get me to do things. So anyway. No doubt about it. We, the player, the angel, and we control the soul in order to interact and observe with the world of the game through the gallery, which is our screen connected to the device. I think that's kind of an interesting thought. I'm not convinced we are the angel. Like, I think there's strong reason to believe it, but I think there's something more to it. I'm not sure what, but I think there's something more to it. Your soul's actual power is hope and not determination. I think in Deltarune, probably, yeah. Thinking about how this for so long too, but I never bothered posting about it. Glad someone actually did. Noelle's the second hero in the cage in Chris's room. The first hero, the vessel containing us. What? The cage is the first hero? What? Estimate plausibility 23%. Okay. Really confused about the capsules. That's way more confusing than saying souls are the hard things. How? That's what I'm saying. I don't think this person like fully understood what I was saying. Because I'm making a distinction between the literal heart-shaped things and then whatever the funeral books are talking about. Anyway, they didn't finish watching the video when they wrote that comment, so... How can deaths have so many shoes if they have no souls, though? Checkmate. Anonymist? True, I've been debunked. He's running! Oh boy, this is long. I don't know if you subscribe to the post-genocide root theory of Deltarune or not, but weird root. Oh, no. This is getting into timeline stuff. No. Stop. Stop talking about timelines. Deltarune is not... Okay. Like, can Deltarune be an alternate timeline of Undertale? Sure. But I really hate when people are just, like, trying to, like, figure out what the timeline of Deltarune Undertale is. I'm like, there is no timeline! It's not an alternate universe. It's not a parallel universe. It's not an alternate timeline. It's a parallel story. What does that mean? It means that you need to stop thinking about these as like universes that are next to each other, right? Think about the themes. Think about the story that's being told, and then think of those in parallel. Stop thinking of the literal, like, chronological placement of these two games beside each other, because that's not the way you should be thinking about this. Anyway. Do you not know how to say no to fans? I do. I do all the time in the video story streams. But the thing is, if I say no to them for those streams, they get bored. Okay, the thing is that you use the true pacifist stuff to say that we don't use determination. We use hopes and dreams, but we bring those things to life with determination. Like, you use the dream act to make last dream with determination. With determination, the dream became true. Dream, the goal of determination. Yeah, I guess that's fair enough. That's an interesting thought. I kind of forgot about that part. I'd have to think about that a little more. But I think like thematically, I think it makes sense that like hopes and dreams are kind of the culmination of determination, and it's kind of a different power. I don't think that would conflict at all. I think it makes sense. Toby's misleading rather than lying. Okay, I'm just gonna go past this. Montaga, Biologically Impossible Monsters, a book in the library on magic tricks, states, seems like most of these tricks require orbs or floating hands. What? There's a book on magic tricks? Where is there a book on magic tricks? I have no idea. Is that an Undertale thing? I am not sure. I will say something. In Deltarune is determination as in sheer freaking will. But in Undertale, it's determination as being to come back from the dead or resist. Like, this is another thing with will. Like, determination might be more like will in Deltarune. Or like, there might be two meanings of determination in Deltarune, which seems kind of true, yeah. The red soul in the Weird Out is basically doing what Sauron did to create the Nazgul. Facts. Facts. We have a Lord of the Ring nerd over here. Well then, stream it for your own fun, enjoy, and not listen to them. That way you can at least say you streamed Vintage Story so they can't get upset about that. Yeah, true. I don't know. I guess also the thing about Vintage Story, it's like, I don't know if I have fun streaming it. I feel like I'd have more fun just playing it on my own time. Because it's like, I just kind of want to... Like, I progress really slowly in it because I don't stream it long enough. And I feel like it annoys people. It's just like, I don't want to annoy people. I don't want to play a game that people get annoyed watching me play. I'd rather play a game where people are interested in watching me. And if people are just going to be annoyed watching me play Vintage Story, I'd just rather not play it on stream. So, it's kind of where I've come to with it. And there's plenty of other content creators for Vintage Story that are doing more interesting things, I think. So, it's not really like I'm needed for it, I would say. Souls being very different in Deltarune actually is something I kind of agree with. It's a conclusion I came to all the way in Chapter 1. What I think makes Deltarune different from Undertale is that the human monster war never happened because there's no soul fusion. Well, there's just no souls. So, that's why it never happened. PS5 had no games. Now Deltarune has no souls. The absolute state of the gaming industry. True. Get this man a true. Suggestion. Undertale is a dark world. Evidence 1. Magic. And true requires falling into the underground, like falling into a dark world. Copies are monochromatic. Consider that in Undertale, all human souls are colored. Or this, in this theory, is that saying that monster souls are copies of human souls? Or in this theory, Lightner souls. The monster souls are monochromatic and so much weaker because they're copies. Breaking the barrier has a similar effect to closing a dark fountain. I guess kind of ish, yeah. I think my point with this, like, between the underground and dark fountains, I think there's a very strong thematic tie between the two. That's for sure. I'm not sure there's so much of like a literal physical tie between the two. Thematic tie, yes. Absolutely thematic parallels. I'm not convinced the underground is actually a dark world. And I used save points on the light world as a point of evidence, but someone pointed out they actually aren't the same color as in Undertale in the underground. But interest, like, and I think that's true, actually. Let's see. Where do I have my... shoot. Where do I have Deltarune? Where's the part where I first saw save points in the light world? Is it stream 7? Yeah, I think it must have been here. Let's see. Would have been beginning of chapter 4. Let's see. Yeah, there's a save point. Okay, so it's not quite white, but it's definitely like fainter than in the dark world. It's not like the bright yellow like in Undertale though. So that's true. I was just wrong about that. So I apologize. But it still remains that save points in the dark world are white. They're not yellow like in Deltarune, you know? So if the underground is a dark world, why are the save points yellow and not white, you know? Even if they're not the same colors in the light world. Okay, then don't stream it and stop putting it in the polls as an option for the stream. Yeah, you're right. I probably should. I'm sorry, Vintage Story fans. I want to do other things. I'm moving on. Okay, browser, can you, like, cooperate with me here? Why is Firefox not responding? Hello? What is going on, bro? Ah, dang it. I closed my background music. I'm so stupid. Whatever. I want new background music. Macabre Plaza is already going to strike my video for using their music anyway. Okay. Yeah, this is good. Oops, all souls. Monsters have as much logic as you give it. They can bleed if they are a purple monster. Maybe even a skeleton can bleed. It doesn't really matter. I think Susie is 100% monster. Lancer puts out a bucket for the blood. Susie doesn't say she doesn't have blood, nor else. Even Lancer knows about blood, so there. I'm not entirely sure what they're trying to make the point. Maybe they're just agreeing with me? I don't know. So. Counter evidence boils down the boom scenes after leaving the underground, inconsistent with the dark world being closed. Yeah, I just don't think the underground is a dark world, so. Why is this lagging so badly, bro? My Firefox is lagging worse than, like, if I was playing a game. It's crazy. What are you doing, Firefox? Maybe it's because this list of comments is so long, YouTube is just breaking. Show me to the other time blood gets mentioned. I will right now. The only character shown to bleed is Susie, and the only dead monster has been shown to die. How they do in Undertale. I'm not saying Susie hybrid. I'm just saying it won't come out of nowhere if she is. It will. It absolutely will come out of nowhere if she's half human. Like, Susie bleeding is just confirming the suspicion we've had for so long that there's no magic in Deltarune. In the light world, at least. Like, this is... I don't know why everyone collectively forgot that we were so convinced that the light world didn't have magic. Like, when chapter 2 and 3 dropped. And 4. Like, what? I don't know. Whatever. Good theory, but I think a better name would be soul tangibility, whereas in Undertale, souls are seen and can be physically interacted with. In Deltarune, they're unseen and spiritual in nature, except for the heart. Well, I don't... I mean, maybe if you want, but I just don't think that's quite what I'm trying to say, so... No. Love the theory. Hybrid theory, Susie, all makes me giggle for the exact reason that you stated, but at this point I really feel like Tricky Tony can make anything work, so I'm still keeping my mind open. That's fair enough. It's fair enough. The idea of the underground being a dark world has always been so weird to me because Toby very purposefully wanted the light world to feel as close to the Undertale as possible. That too. That's very true. Is this song saying choo-choo? No? It's just scat, you know? Like scat, like jazz, scat. Do-do-do-do-do-do. What do you think of scat? I'm a scatting man. Do-do-do-do-dum-ba-da-bo. You know, it's scat. Also, after the 10th anniversary stream, the Gerson lore dropped. I love how I dropped this video right after the 10th anniversary. It's great. Humans lost their magic in order to seal the monster underground. What if in Deltarune the places switched? Monsters lost their magic, sealing humans away, giving them back the ability to bleed and possibly making Chris special because they have their magic. Crackpot theory, but it's interesting. Great video. Asriel Dreamer fight always makes me cry. Me too. Unrelated. Okay, there was like 2 comments that were like laughing at when I sound unrelated. I don't know why. Was that funny? I have no idea. Anyway. The funeral burial rites. I read it as the difference between the two is they bury the object in Deltarune and they don't undertale. But the thing is, we never see a monster soul besides a boss monster soul in Undertale. Like, they just vanish that quickly. There's not a shot they can bury the soul before it vanishes. Like, they're not talking about the literal heart-shaped soul right now. They're talking about, like in a funeral where someone says their soul is at rest now. You know, they don't mean that, like, some physical thing is now resting in the ground. They mean that, like, that person is now at rest, you know? Something spiritual, something metaphorical. In Undertale, souls can be read as metaphors. Yes, so I don't know why. Okay. Anyway. The books in the library don't read very esoteric. It's weird to say we don't know if the soul's true function. It's not quantified. It's because I'm saying they're talking about two different souls. Bro, missed the entire point. Anyway. Death was conquered by love, you say? True pilled Jemmy of a video, it seems. Yes, sir. Totally not me trying to draw a parallel between Undertale and then the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus. Anyway. I actually physically sobbed because of the new Azrael dialogue in the 10th anniversary stream. It was so good. It was so good. Saying a Spampton doesn't call it a soul and then cutting to where it is very much... Yeah. Someone else bringing that up. Thank God he made this video because I came to very similar conclusions. Theory and analysis. There'll be 5 minutes of true pacifist playthrough jammed in the middle of the video. There's a lot of people that are very glad I put that in. But this is just another one of those people who just don't like the presentation of the video, and that's fine, you know. So there's 5 replies. Why are there 5 replies? Oh, I think there was other people agreeing with him, right? Right? I think it was other people agreeing with my G over here. Someone respecting me for taking the criticism. Load! What is with... Is my laptop just deciding to be a piece of crap tonight? I have no idea. Whatever. As much as I love this theory, I'm so happy people are talking about it. I don't necessarily believe that determination and hope are opposing forces. Rather, determination is a soul trait. One can channel like kindness or perseverance. It's just that hopes and dreams, above all, is the strongest power anyone can have. Not determination, integrity, perseverance, etc. However, I've been scrounging to try and find anyone who'd break the silence on how standoffish Deltarune is about the souls of Deltarune at large. So this video is wonderful. Exactly! Why is it so standoffish? Exactly my problem, man. Whoa, wait, hold on a second. In one context, soul is in all uppercase letters. In the other context, the one that is clearly speaking esoterically is not. Is soul another acronym in Deltarune? If so, what does it mean? So another person thinking it's an acronym. I don't know what it would be. It'd be interesting, but I don't know why it would be. Deltarune is basically saying, yeah, blah, 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 eldritch entities. In fairness, the idea of power being the motif, I think in Chapter 2, before after Queen mentions determination, the save point says you are filled with a certain power, alluding to a power we all know too well. Though, of course, it could be that our Undertale capsule determination. I don't think so. I'm not so sure about that. Okay, why is the scrolling being so weird in my browser right now, bro? Why? Firefox, what are you doing? Stop. Why is it lagging? I don't get it. So weird. Wasn't the Easter egg scene where if you wait for Susie, she tells you the whole scene when you're sneaking around hiding from Chris, she basically reaffirms everything from Undertale. I have no idea what this person is hallucinating, but I have no idea what they're talking about. This is a fascinating idea that Oopsley has merit. The only thing I had to say is that Undertale Flowey maintains its Azrael form for a while after returning monster souls, suggesting that determination lingers in the body for a while. Well, he literally... Even once the soul is removed, if the soul is necessary to generate determination, the Chris could be using the lingering determination from the soul to create their fountain. The thing is, I'm saying you don't need the soul to get determination in Deltarune. So I don't know why this is relevant. Okay. Does make sense they have differing rules if you rearrange the letter of Undertale. Yeah. Okay. Such a fun video. A lot of things that you said about on my mind. Joy of Deltarot. Also, thanks for the great video listening to at work. You're so welcome. Why do you need to link in the description? I have linked it in the description now. Bangin' theory, my man. Way more to say about this, but I'm too busy to write a long friggin' comment. But thank God someone actually calls out the half-human Susie theory being stupid as heck. My gosh, so cathartic. Also been going insane over the unique monster biology metaphysics in Deltarune 2, don't worry. Glad someone just really found some release in this video. No, I have a good argument supporting Susie hypertheory. It's just cool, and that's enough. What did I reply again? Based. Screw evidence, it's cool. Oh, gee, I noticed something now. This might be inconsequential. Inconsequential, excluding Burnley and the scene, are all shown Lightner's Queen knows. However, Chris and Susie have created dark fountains. And what was Queen talking about seeing? The determination. Basically, the portraits that Queen shows when she's talking about Lightner's having determination, only those characters have determination or something. Or that, like, we'll see Noelle make a fountain soon, because she was, like, she's the last one of the 3 that were shown who has not made a fountain yet. Which is, maybe, I don't know. Timestamps, start, diagonal Chris, and the best timestamps. Another person noticing the weird route line. Big monsters are made for magic, but they lost that power a long time ago. So what, they just disappeared? Clearly not. But Spampton does refer to it as a soul. Yep, we know. Some are crazy to keep calling souls capsules. Bro skipped the intro, I guess. How many more comments is there, bro? I actually physically saw. I'm still not convinced that soul traits were ever a real thing and not just alluding to what the 6 souls were like when alive. If it was a thing, then why doesn't the ball game mention what red is? Yeah. Honestly, I have to agree. I feel like the whole soul trait thing has really been fanned into, like, unquestionable status, but the only thing we have to go off of is ball game. So I'm like, seems kind of weak. It seems kind of weak. I'm not gonna lie. Seems pretty weak. Yeah. I just don't like the whole discussion of soul traits. I think it's like, yeah, fanning. It's fanning. The human soul, like determination, is a double entendre. It is a human soul in that it is a soul that belongs to in-universe human Chris, but is also a human soul in that it represents the only actual humans here, us, the player. I think this is very true. I didn't get to say this in the video, but this is kind of what I think, honestly. I think it is a double entendre. Though there is a reason to dispute whether we are the human soul or the human parts, given the way the Dark Worlds generally depersonalize Chris and attempt to pretend they have no will of their own. I'm going to assert that they are the human parts. That doesn't make us any less human, no matter how badly we wish we aren't. Hi, Jake Branch. This is a reference to Papyrus and Undertale. Yeah. This is the kid with the bones again. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Yeah. Biology. Magical biology. Okay. Yeah. I said, heh, diagonal Chris right before you did, not knowing you'd also say it. That's funny. I may leave soon to watch the last 100 episodes of One Piece till 3 a.m. Dang. Rest in peace. Ball game is just really weird. Yes. Agreed. To be fair, the ball game also knowing what they were like is really weird too. Yeah. That's true, actually. I thought this exact theory after playing Chapter 4. Thank you for making a video about it. You're welcome. Determination explicitly the will to change fate. In Undertale, it's clearly, this is meant literally. Those monsters who have so much determination actually determinate, if only briefly. Those monsters are little king and queen of the friggin' underground. Blah, blah, blah. Yep. Joe Blarone, he made a lot of long comments, and I don't feel like reading them. Monsters likely don't have any determination, because if they had even a little, then Alphys wouldn't need to borrow the human souls from Asgore for research. This is just not true. Like, all monsters have determination. That's in Undertale, at least. That's just a fact. And Frost and Joe Blarone are having, like, long debate somewhere that I keep getting notifications about. Okay, bye-bye. I won't be going back. Alright, bye-bye. Bye, Jinx. Thanks for stopping in. Unfortunately, this theory is wrong due to a big issue. We've seen Susie's soul, just like we see in Sans' soul. This is literally a hallucination. We have literally never seen Susie's or Sans' soul. What? This is totally made up. Finally, thank you. I was starting to think I was the only one who didn't believe that the kid knows everything, literally. Kudos for the voice acting and running with the theory for a while that in Undertale, the generator that was generating magic from the magma in the volcano, that magic was keeping the monsters alive. Okay. It's never said in the game, so I'm not gonna... Weird thing is, Chris would know about the soul ever since he was little, taking a heart pillow prank to Noelle, but that might be his little heartbread, I'm sure. Yeah, I think this is because potentially Chris has been possessed before when they summoned a demon with Caddy. What is this gif? This is the, well, this stinks. The Sans gif for the Chapter 3, of the video transition slide. No, we never saw their souls. What? I know. What is that guy on about? It was just Susie. I would think that meant that the heart thing she wears, but Sans too. I know. I have no idea what that comment's talking about. Bro, literally, like, nice try, but where's your source? My source is that I made it up. Like, what? Maybe humans mostly went extinct and dark fountains exist because there's a river of... Okay. Dark fountains are human fossil fuel. I'm not gonna... Didn't Toby say it himself, or am I tweaking? That's the thing about determination. Based for not going whack on the blood or assuming Deltarune souls are Undertale souls, like so many others in the fandom. I was believer without even seeing the evidence, but putting this into a video is a nice compilation of points. Yeah, the girls chapter 4. Yeah, the silhouette and stuff, the sword. Yeah, I know. I'm saying I think it could be Susie or Noelle. I think that's my official stance. Gonna be honest, like the rabbit was asking, is saying is literally just to be in town? No. Read the context of what the rabbit's saying. That's clearly not what it's talking about. Interesting. Naps to Blue, my joke too. Yeah, I forgot about Naps to Blue. I'm sorry. Peak video. Dude, this is genuinely one of the best theories I've seen from Deltarune in a while. Instant sub, man. Keep it up. Thank you so much. Nish the dude. Based Outer Wilds OST enjoyer in chat. True. Someone was looking... I find it funny. Someone was looking at, like, the clips I was using in the game and was looking at my chat from the clips. That's really funny. Love how it's all Deltarune and it's just Mudahar. Yeah, when I was scrolling that list of, like, Deltarune theories, this random video about Mudahar. I don't know. I don't know what this comment is, but the third Prime Soul speaking at the start. Like the intro of the video. I don't know what third Prime Soul means, but... Does that mean in the third Toby Fox game we'll be wielding the power of dreams? No, I don't think so. I think it's hopes and dreams right now. If it was just Susie, yeah, okay. You seem really convinced the little monster kid's asking about skeletal monsters for some reason instead of just how humans have skeletons in them. To the read the context. Read the context. People, it's like people just looked at my screenshot. Just read the context of what he's saying. Okay. 50% theory, 50% Undertale gameplay. Man, gotta eat. I don't make money from this video, so no, it's literally just presentation. And 50% Undertale gameplay is a little bit. I think they're referring to the Azrael fight, but I mean it's literally it's a small part of the video. Say that again. Another thing with the weird route thing, banning theory. I think they meant banging. A lot of people think determination means determination. Do you mean the art of adaptation book? Yep, people mentioning the book again. So it wasn't just that people think it, but it is probably true. I mean, it's not a theory. It's just a non-falsifiable claim to say anything is truly random. I'm not sure what bro thought I was saying, but I don't think I said what he thought I was saying about, like, randomness and chaos and stuff. Crackbot theory here. Underground's just a giant dark fountain. No. No. I don't think that determinism means the world's chaotic. I think it means the opposite. Everything is ordered. This reminds me of Toby Fox's belief that all chaos is just order that has not been yet understood. Exactly. That's the point I'm making, right? Like, that's literally the point, right? Like, things are chaotic to us, but on a larger scale, it's not. It hasn't been yet. Yeah, it's the same thing, you know? Okay. Projection, that's the part where I'm like, it's like when determination showed up in chapter 2, and I'm like, it's like the whole community was blindsided by their ex showing up, you know? Anyway. Okay, I think this lack of clarity about soul stems from the origin of the Deltarune and Jill stories. There's no determination discovery or soul research. So many people made this point, man. It's crazy. Not to be weird, but you have such a nice voice. Oh my lord. What is with all the thirst for my voice? I don't get it.
I really don't get it. Why is my voice so hot?
Hope has the power to change fate, not determination. Kind of agree. I just don't like the Susie half-human theory. I'm glad so many other people don't like that theory. I think it's really bad. Like, I think it's one of the worst, like, actually one of the worst theories the fandom's ever come up with. Like, come on, guys. We had all the pieces set up, and someone just threw the board over, and everyone went with it. Come on. Ugh. Anyway. So I think one thing being overlooked here is the fact that determination can also be interpreted as the power to determine things. That was literally one of my points. Like, I think that's literally something I literally said. we're determining it. You know, we're not overlooking it. That's what I said. I disagree with pretty much every step of logic you made, but gave a like anyway. I don't know where skeletons come from. In my opinion, refers to Sans Barnes having just moved in. No! Read the context. Read the context. Also, I asked them like what logic they disagreed with, but they never answered, so I don't know. I think the holiday home call is a conference call. It explains why they refer to Chris in the third person and why the color switches our entire lines, just not individual words. I feel like maybe I'm getting less and less certain in the conference call. Well, no. I think this conference call is probably not true, but it's really funny. So it's funny to believe it. Regarding the kid asking about meaning of blue bones, well, they just don't know things because they're a kid. Yes. Yes. Exactly. Kia Optima. That's precisely it. Stop taking his lines as strong evidence for one or the other. Sorry, guys. Personally, I believe that every monster and human soul... Personally, I believe that every monster and humans have souls, and that the soul the player controls was actually stolen by Chris, making them the one who interrupted the Gaster thing session thing of the Goner Maker. And have two souls, the dominant one, the player, and the real soul. Are they convinced? I can't remember. Yeah, I don't think they ever were convinced by my theory, but like, this just is not. This is some crackpot territory. I'll be honest, it feels like a bit of a cop out just to disregard the bunny kid. No, feels too intentional. Then regard both lines of dialogue as intentional, and then realize this is not getting us anywhere. My take, and the take that has obviously survived very well over the years, is that souls do exist, but not in the exact same as Undertale. The soul in Deltarune is obviously some type of soul of light, which is why the king refers to Chris specifically as a light bringer, not as a lightener. I feel like the king line is kind of weak, but like, let's say souls do exist, like cap souls do exist in Deltarune. I'm going to say they're going to be fundamentally different from it, like what we are. Your disclaimer made me laugh. I am now a subscriber. I'm the original Starwalker. Someone singing the Cleveland Brown intro for some reason? I don't know why. Okay, so the first Deltarune theory video I've watched in my life, which is a banging video, my man, and B, I have no idea what I'm about to say is already common knowledge. Common theory, so sorry if it's old news. Anyway, since blah blah blah. Bringing death back to life. I don't think that's what it is. I really think there's something more complicated going on with Carol. And like the whole evil found openers group chat. Because if like the Knight and Carol and Chris are all in cahoots, I don't know why the goal would be like to bring Des back, because for all intents and purposes Des is still alive. And yes, I think Des is the Knight. So a capsule is essentially just a small cage for toys, no? So if Chris is the cage with human parts in possession of a soul, then they're literally a capsule. But yeah, it's a bit fun bit of wordplay. See, the ending of Deltarune, Togor will show up with a real soul and fight us, and it will be the real reveal. He will say, "No one near the soul," and Togor all over the walls. Togor-tastic! Unrelated. There's the other person who was, like, mentioning my unrelated line. I don't know why that was so iconic, for whatever reason, but it took you 1 minute for me to believe you. The rest of the video just reinforced my belief. 10 out of 10. Let's go. I made a convert. Say it again. So many people just noticing that friggin' weird route line. Interesting. Oh boy, this is too long. I feel too tired to read long comments. How much further is this, man? How many more comments do we have? We're almost at the end. Okay, last stretch. Could just be in a world that without magic and stuff involving the soul isn't relevant to everyday life. We've addressed this. Scrolling through Deltarune theory, some ordinary games vid pops up. Widar's the Roaring Knight confirmed. Very, very funny. This is a YouTube Shorts comment. I'm sorry. Wholly based. I'm so tired of people assuming Undertale mechanics carry over to Deltarune. Same. No, he broke the mold. Burn him at the stake. Yeah, how dare I question the fandom's decided favorite theories. I don't believe this is your first video. It's so funny and well done. Only thing I suggest is sometimes the music was louder than the voice. Yeah, that was kind of like, I was using a lot of different audio output devices when I was editing, like through different, so like it sounded different at like each part of editing. So it's probably the problem, but oh well. It also kind of depends on what audio device you're using. So, and it's like, it's not my first video. It's my first theory video, but I have like 170 something videos on my channel. I mean, not all of them are mine. Probably like, really, I probably only made like 110 maybe 120, because like 60 or 70 of those are like archives of some other stuff that I've made. But I've made like over 100 videos now, so it's not like I've never made a video before, but it's just my first time scripting a video and like making an actual theory and stuff. So I think it went pretty well. Spamton Neo uses the term soul. Yep. Although it might not technically be him saying it. Video was really cool. Your voice is great and the editing style is intriguing. I was like, I hope intriguing is a good thing. The biggest counter argument against skeletons are weird. Bunny Kid's right. Yeah. It's more the whole thing with the skeletons. You know, saving us for later. Love the editing style and tone of the video. Don't beat yourself up too much. We enjoy theories here. Some notes, comments, ideas. We'll be editing while I watch. More long comment. I can't. We're in the first. Okay, you know, it's the last long comment. We'll read it. I mean, I already replied, but. Legends of localization. Yep, it confirms the determination thing. Actually, okay, you know what? I am skipping it. First, how dare you read my YouTube viewing habits like a book, and now that I've watched Andrew Cunningham's videos 4 times. Second, really interesting points I'm not sure I agree with, that we need to oppose determination Deltarian, since making fantasies not inherently bad. Mr. Fox is doing this himself, and he literally just spent a live stream encouraging us to imagine more Undertale content. But I do think you're right to point out how weird the text is when it gets close to talking about human / monster souls. Yes, it gets weird. Why is it being standoffish? Why is it being weird? That's my point. To be entirely honest, this video reads like an addendum to Jario's The Angel Remade the World so the human-monster war never happened, which required it to change the nature of monsters. They couldn't absorb human souls theory. I never saw that theory, but I mean, it sounds interesting. Jario's always like, you know, kind of crazy, but he's cool. Interpreting the game through that lens make all these clues come into pretty clear focus. It explains Sans and Susie bleeding but not being made of blood, why monsters have the same funeral properties as Undertale. Great editing. Is there more subs? Finally, heck yeah, light wins over darkness in the ends. I see what you did, and I respect it. Thank you. Neat. Someone else who goes to the younger estimate for the Lancer fan club's age. Yeah, I don't... How old do people usually assume they are? Like, teens? It seems pretty clear to me they're like middle school age. I don't know. Peak. How do you only have 653 subs? Dang, this was 10 days ago. And we're already like 500 subscribers over that? That's crazy. Hate YouTube title auto translation. Peak. That's all the comments. Oh my gosh. That's all the comments, guys. That was... How long was that? I have no idea. But yeah, that's all the comments on my theory. Actually, I think there might have been a new one since I started. Let's see. New comments first. Do we have any new ones since 5 minutes? That was not 5 minutes ago, but you know, we'll see. If this thing will load. Brother. Play Bad Time Simulator, please. Oh, Symphony. No new comments except for symphonies. Alright. Well, yep, that's all the comments. 504 comments. Crazy. Well, guys, I believe, I do declare, this stream is over. It was 3 hours of reading comments. That's crazy. Pretty crazy. Let's see. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll eventually be trying to make a follow-up to the actual theory, like a proper video, so we'll see. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you had a good time. To all those of you who are new to the community, welcome. Glad to have you. And yeah, love God, love others. Jesus loves you. Have a good night. Bye-bye.